really serious and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord to do his will, I'm that nigga.
One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put y'all faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Run the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make a money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on cargo slave ship. What the fuck he do for blacks in his administration? I'm waiting, patient like a saint. Black, Hispanic, Native, they hate your ass the same. Hate Christ in they image, paint you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say he hate. African soul niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the streets. Put you in the cell, toilet connected to the sink. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dream. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lie sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a cop. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate about my brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under your honor, ain't he murdered by them and got a hug from your honor. That's the way out for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priests bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, ranking order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ice agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game, put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves. Chose by the Lord, we could never be the same. Soon as they born, the wicked go astray. They left the truth, they wasn't with us anyway. Niggas weak, they just saying anything to be truthful. We don't want no cowards anyway. Look, coronavirus, that's a plague. You don't get too much sleep when you waking up the dead. First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church. Came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church.
Hey y'all, we start. Oh, they were picking my man Cotton. We get him a bean. Let's get the people something they can hear as they veer to the left, but it's best that they hang with the right. Every day, last night, took flight in the bucket, fuck it. We bustin' down doors, never trust hoes with the busted down toes. We cutting down bros, they fussin', eat crow, cause fuck them, no, they part of the clientele. Everybody ain't built for this shit, they try and fail. Thinking if we shop on the Sabbath, they buy and sell, when really you might as well. It's a cold day in hell ×2. You're the seed of your father, nigga, not a part you. I'm a few scenes as in the animated cartoons. One body heart, pulled through the melanin. Refusal of the medicine is slaughtered to my brethren. Perpetual middle fingers pointed at your reverend. Until the day I died, it's my regiment. You worry about the Nephilim. I'm focused on my daughters in Michigan flip. Barely can part with the rent, but still offer they 10%. 10%. Though the situation's grim, JoJo with the poses. The Lord is a man of war, his habitation Goshen. This hell is the lowest. Hear our voices and see our choices. You're better off with the roaches. They fucking you with a Trojan. You call it a bed of roses, all sacrilegious and bogus. They voted. You thought you was the shit when really you's a toilet. Sanity repeated. Ain't what a nigga seeketh. We conceded once again to this European demon. Go to war in the pandemic. Freedom is San Quentin. Common war. Makatas our soldiers to the last minute. But these thuggies and huggies quicker to split in a duchy. Commanding General Johanna Razors, Rufus and Ruddy. Hit the dirt, bottom of fringes in my boots is getting muddy. But the money ain't a thing unless my brother's good. That's brotherhood is understood. Playing out the underwood, nothing but aggression till our oppressor is underfoot. This is my confession, sharpen my weapon by studying the book. You ain't gotta go through academy to bite the bullet. Gangsta and disciple music like a Nazarite would do it. You can hide from war, but those that seek to save their life will lose it. Wonder why these white folks is ruling, cause we put them Edomites in charge. Cap lock to it, reestablish his contract with God.
I ain't got opinions, I just take orders. Too easy to be a coward, I can't change garments. Same story like Adam and Eve. Found out they was naked, tried sow up some leaves. I'm just trying to sow what I reap. If the blind lead the blind, then that hole gon' be deep. It's the work of the Lord, God roll up my sleeves. Went from digging up evil nigga and rolling up weed. I know what I see. My people destroyed y'all. Who gave you that white image? People destroyed y'all. Feel like Marvin Gaye. Tell me what's going on. Yesterday I seen this black man on the overdose. Same day DMX died, hell is cold. If you value what they teach, you'll never grow. Black man got more value than precious gold. Be careful what this world is, snatch your soul.
Yeah.
Light skin keep sweating.
And 44 the rebel, yeah.
Hey, who beat us this? Yeah, this shit inspired me, I needed this. That old man and them lies, I defeated them. You know them lies in the den, bitch, I eat with them. You know them Glocks, them 2 9s, yeah, I sleep with them. Hate in his eyes, guess I got to pop the smoke off. Lot of power, many wives, I want both y'all. Can you read between the lines, what do we have here? About to let my light shine like a chandelier. In the end, get them crowns like a souvenir. If he ain't locked up with the code, what he doing here? Don't play no games, bitch, my bro bleach your blue in here. They get you torn up, but this go warm up. I put my fists in the air, they gon' swarm up. I put my hand up in the air, they gon' fan out. Them devils try to do me bad, but it ain't planned out. How I planned out. Bitch, I'm worried for the devil, that's why I stand out. I'm always gon' swing that sword, I never stand out. It's gonna be man down, put him in the ground, and I'm always applying pressure, nigga, hands down. And you can tell it where I'm rolling, I'm official with. And now to put the plan in motion, let me situate. I'm 45, little nigga, can't do nothing with you. If we gon' have to take it over, it gon' be nothing pretty. Hey, who is this? Yeah, this shit inspired me, I needed this. That old man and them lies, I defeated them. You know them lies in the den, bitch, I eat with them. You know them Glocks, them 2 9s, yeah, I sleep with them. Yeah, this bitch go hard cause I'm vibing with. With them niggas on my side, be they ride with it. I hear him talking, but them niggas can't be serious. Hey, they delirious, they fucking with me, period. Shorty stay low, I'ma marry her. One of a kind, I'ma cherish her. I love the way she feel, give all I can give. Hey, you know my shit for real. You gonna uphold that oath, young and yeah, I'm positive. And the reason that he died, he ain't tryna live. Can't sacrifice you, know we struggle live. Hey, who beat us this? Yeah, this shit inspired me, I needed this. I see that old man, and them lies, I defeated them. You know them lies in the den, bitch, I eat with them. You know them blocks, them 2 9s, yeah, I sleep with them. Get it poppin' on their head, better come a 12 more. Glory in the distance at my fingertip. Piling up bag like a nigga about to take a trip. Yeah, it won't West, nigga, what the fuck you think it is? Yeah, what you think it is? 44, what was solid, who you think it is? Ain't stopping nothing, nigga, I got too much rank in here. Hey, what you think it is? Hey, who beat us this? Yeah, this shit inspired me, I needed this. That old man, and them lies, I defeated them. You know them lies in the den, bitch, I eat with them. You know them Glocks, them 2 9s, yeah, I sleep with them. Yeah.
One Westworld.
Right. Everything is lawful. Westworld.
The pressure on, I remember bringing nothing home. Make it little just to make it known. Steady, ready, better watch your tone. When I was 5'7", I was breaking. I had a 5'7", now I want the chrome. 9'11", I was in my zone. Lose the argument or lose your throne. Keep cool, ain't no running up. Damn, now I'm coming up. They coming to kiss me, you dumb or what? You drawn, you done enough. They told me don't rush it, just wait my time. Paying attention, I see the signs. Coming right to me like Amazon. No time for distractions, I'm on the grind. Little shorty, your ticket, she know she fine. Got a couple of so never mind. They throwing the shade cause they know I shine. Reason I'm going in overtime. You stuck in your ways, you keep fantasizing. I just go get it, don't think about it. Don't make it an issue, it ain't a problem. Not too much talking, just organizing. One Westworld, no way around it. Heavy, so you know I'm grounded. Too sturdy, I'm well rounded. Tunnel vision, I don't see a talent. Get admitted, I'm killing it. Case closed, I don't need a gavel. Know you hate it, don't even matter. New pay, still the same time.
Mike, but just never forget that I do not. Always have that fresh in your mind. That I feel absolutely nothing for your pain and your problem. Because I know that all of your pain and problems are a test to make you stronger.
I live in a world where we coincide. If you're not ready to stay inside, you're drowning away. Or you're gonna ride. You stick to the end, you get glorified. Yeah.
See, if you're gonna step up in it, you're gonna run.
Stick to the end, you get glorified. Let's make it official, I'm one of them. One of the greatest is no exempt. It took me a minute to figure it out. I was struggling, and it made a man. I shuffled the deck and I played my hand. Just give me a reason to put them on you. Didn't believe that I had me a vision. Should I believe that you niggas loyal? We giving up game, they fumbling plays. I'm tired of talking, I'm racked out. Before that we started, they tapped out. I jumped in my duffel and blacked out. What you witnessing is elevation. Glory road to my destination. The haters is a celebration, and I put that on my reputation. When the fall, this is a demonstration. You're sick and I know they hate it. One Westworld every season. Hot boy, this dedication. I'm giving game, I don't need favors. Go against it, you won't see the danger. You ain't family, you a damn stranger. I beat your ass, I don't need a baby. I don't got time for excuses. I'm plotting on making the killer. I'm getting the feeling, they know that I'm coming, I'm running. Let's get to the business. I'm still playing my post. Taking the rim like diesel. Don't run with too many people. I don't feel none of us equal.
And there are some brothers and sisters that know that so much, they would never leave. They would never abandon you. Since you have to stay alive here, they'll stay alive with you.
I live in a world where we coincide. If you're not ready to stay inside, you're drowning away. Or you're gonna ride. You stick to the end, you get glorified. Yeah. You stick to the end, you get glorified.
They're One West.
Pando killed the beat.
I don't know who, somebody need to hear this. Y'all speak Hebrew, that's Yiddish. How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans get locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died. Y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew. You a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dumb, a gun that will die. Yeah, Yeezy told the truth and got ostracized. not one person in the Bible had on a yarmulke. We were slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth. I had to make it clear how Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947. Your menorah got 9 sticks. It's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world. Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs, bunch of thieves and culture vultures. Ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander, and Philip, you a convert. So tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you litter. Why my people can't hate your people?
Share the room, y'all. Share the room.
All the prophets, the black ones called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jewish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, this the feast of Purim. You BK undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bastard, they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all trying to make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. He ain't the devil, who is? I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi why he give them babies herpes. I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody try to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, that's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. Cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'd punch you in person. I know this an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ. They the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas. They're a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth. Niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4. I ain't satisfied.
That is proof. That is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now you got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity, and they know it. And I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews. The Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in America with no identity. That's where God's chosen people are. So y'all think it's just about us in here, but this is about an oppressive, fucked up system designed to keep niggas down and shit. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. What about you, little nigga? You know about that?
Yes.
Oh, you know about that? Tell me what you know about that. Tell me what you think about that.
I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you gon' find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. Belly of the beast, we been living in hell. They like, damn, Kai, how could you tell? Put us in the project, set us up to fail. Round here, bullets be flying like hell. Too many of my niggas either dead or in jail. Make a nigga work when you locked in a cell. Can't find work when you out on bail, but your homie got the work, so we passed you a scale. Got them birds like the Bible got quail. Niggas selling out cause they mama got bills. Turned into coons like Oprah and Gail. How you sell your soul just to get a little kale? They put you in a dress when you get a record deal. Wanna see a nigga getting high on pills? You can dance on a pole, you can sell that tail, but they never tell a nigga that he can go to Yale. We all created equal, that's white males. All lives matter, not black males. Another mother crying, another coffin got a nail. How many brothers out here got killed? How many of our sisters out here gotta heal? How many more caps gotta get peeled? We beef with each other so quick to pull the steel. George Zimmerman still alive and well. I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel.
Hey, appreciate that, Tazaryach. Welcome to One West on the hunter side of Clubhouse. Uh, that's the brother. For those that don't know, Ron Dalton is the author, director of the movie Hebrews, the Negroes. Um, I have the honor of having him on the stage with us. That's the brother. His PTR is Moses. Y'all should definitely give him a follow. Also, we want to pin his link to the top. If somebody can grab his link off of Amazon so we could pin his link to the top. And y'all should support that brother's documentary. You know they fighting to try to get the documentary, whether it's the book or the DVD itself, taken off of Amazon. And this brother should be supported. Unlike the Kyries and Kanye's that does have millions of dollars, we need to support this brother because he's the catalyst for what they are doing. And I wanted to bring Ron onto this side of Clubhouse so that the brother and Ron, just so you know, a lot of people are interested and have questions, and we definitely want you to give the history of why you came up and how you came up, why you wanted to do the documentary, why you wanted to do the book, why it's important, and then people may have questions for you. And so, you know, we definitely glad that you're here. So shout out to the mods on the stage. Make sure y'all share the room. We got 343 people. We only got 135 shares. We definitely want to share the room. So Ron, if you want to come off mute, just introduce yourself to the audience that's in front of you.
Can I talk after him? Thank
Yes. You want the long story or the short story?
However you want to give it, Ron. Like a lot of people on this side may not be familiar with who you are, which is why, you know, as I said to you in the conversation, I wanted to bring you over to this side. So whether you want to do the long or short, the brothers, we ain't going nowhere. We definitely want to hear. So the floor is yours to speak how you see.
So I'm my dad's a pastor, Pentecostal Apostolic Church, and I am a physician assistant by career. I used to work in the hospital for 18 plus years. And let's just say that working in the trauma hospitals of Detroit, like Detroit Receiving, Sinai Grace Hospital, these are level 1 trauma hospitals that, you know, seeing all the liquor stores and the churches on the corner and going to church every Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, revivals, convention, youth day, vacation Bible school, all these things that we used to do, that it didn't make sense where our people were destroyed and society was getting worse in terms of what I saw every summer or every year working in the hospitals in Detroit. And so one day I was sitting in the back of a church, my dad's church, in the afternoon service, and I just opened up the Bible, and Deuteronomy 28 was the first chapter that was there. So I started reading it, and I read it from the beginning to end. And then after I read that, I just looked up and looked outside the window and just looked at the pastor, and I said, this is like us. And I tried to compare it to the Jewish people, and it didn't. I said, there's nothing in here that I see that the Jewish people I went through. So I started to question if the curses of Israel are upon our people, and it's not. I don't see that in the Jews today. Then, you know, what is going on here? And so none of the pastors in the organization of the Church of our Lord Jesus Christ could answer these questions. And so I just asked God to show me the truth and to, you know, let me know the answers to, you know, to my questions. And so eventually I started to research these things, and white Jesus, black Jesus, and that just led me down a rabbit hole that the doors kept opening, and it's almost like the video game The Legend of Zelda, where you just keep opening up doors after door after door after door.
Right.
Get to a secret door, and then you gotta have a secret key to get to that door, and then you find out, you know, what you got to do to get to the next level. And so that's kind of like how my research began, and how it furthered until I decided that what I learned I needed to share with people in the church community. But the church community didn't want to hear that. They just wanted me to speak on prostate cancer in the black community, and different things that Black people needed to know that they were suffering from, like diabetes and high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease and stuff like that. And they didn't want to hear anything studied for 3 or 4 years. So I just decided then to put it in a book. Never wrote a book before. I just said that, I know how to write a paper, but a book author is not something I am. But I just went ahead and started typing up chapters and naming the chapter. And I just kept doing that until I had 50 chapters. And then I put out the first book. And after that book, it was more information than I had. I made the second book and the third book and the fourth book. And then
Hey,
I
Ron,
realized
what was the name of Ron? What was the name of the first book? Was it the same title, or did you have a different title?
they're all the same title. It's Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. And
Gotcha.
so,
Okay.
yeah, because we were basically called Hebrews, and we got our name changed to the byword Negro. So it's like a code word for we originally were, and now we're known as something else. And so that's why I titled it from Hebrew. Well, a lot of people say from Hebrews to Negroes, but it's really Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. And that's the title of all four books. And then after that, I decided to make a movie or try to do something in that realm because Black people don't really read books like that, especially big, thick books. And, that age we had, uh, Instagram, we had MySpace, we had Facebook, different things of that nature, movies. And so I said, let me make a
Hey,
movie.
Ron.
Okay.
Hey, Ron, before you get to the movie part with the books, right? Were you publishing the books like on Amazon then before you got to the movie? And the reason I'm asking is just so people can have a timeline, because of course you and I know the movie was out before 2022, but just to give this audience a little backdrop, when was the first book that you had? When was it first come out? Like what year was that? And subsequent the other ones after?
Well, the first book, a lot of people wouldn't publish it because they would look at the title, the synopsis of what the book is about, and then they would say, my publishing company said no. It doesn't matter if it was a Black person. They usually work for a white publishing company, and when the white people got a hold of the book or the information, they rejected it. So then I finally found
Right, that's important.
a independent Black publisher, and she published it, and we got it. We published it at the end of 2014 in December, and then the rest of the books, kind of the hardback, the paperback, all that stuff, the ebook, all started to follow in 2015.
And who was the name of the sister that published it for you?
Her
Do you know?
Well, she goes through It's called G Publishing, G, like the letter G. She's based out of Detroit, so she does a lot of
Okay.
books for Black people that do smut books and whatever book that Black people like to do in Detroit, in that area. She publishes her books.
Gotcha. And that's why I wanted to mention that, because it's good to know that, because like the fight that you had, like you said, you got when they see the information, because they can control the narrative, which goes right to what we'll get to. At least you was able to find a publisher, a Black woman, Black sister, that was able to put it out for you. So without you doing the research, her putting the information out, we might not be here. So, and again, I'm just trying to let everybody see the timeline of how we got to the book and movie itself, and then of course we'll get into the Kyrie side. But you can go ahead.
So the movie, um, I remember I was in the hospital at Henry Ford, and I was at Starbucks, and I was standing in line getting some tea, and this pastor, he was walking down the hallway, and he said, well, his story was that God told him to go stand behind me and talk to me. So he walked in there, he stood behind me. I got my tea. I sat down, was drinking it early in the morning, like 6:30 in the morning. And then he sat on the other side of me with his whatever he had, coffee. And then he said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great." He said, "It's good to see a Black brother with a white coat." And I said, "Thank you." And then he said, "It's not a lot of us here at this hospital that I see." And I said, "I know." So then he said, then he started asking me questions. He said, "I'm a pastor." And he said, "I'm gonna tell you this." He said, "Something told me to come stand behind you, and I believe it was God that told me to come stand behind you because I was supposed to go see somebody because as a pastor you usually go do checkups on your people in your church like a chaplain. You just go to make sure they're okay and make sure you showed your face and the pastor of the church showed their face to one of the members. But he stood behind me and then he sat down and he talked to me and told me he was a pastor and I said, "What church?" And he told me the church. It's a pretty large church in Detroit. And so then he said, so we started talking. I said, "My dad's a pastor too." And then I said, "Oh," he said, "Oh, okay, good." And I asked him, "Let me ask you a question." And I said, "What color is Jesus? Was he white or black?" And then he looked at me and he said, "Black." And I said, "Do you teach your church that?" He said, "No, they can't handle it." And I said, "What do you mean they can't handle it?" He said, "Do you know if I told my church that Jesus is black, then basically I'll be telling them that the Jews are black or the Hebrews are black or the Israelites are black." And he said that, that's a lot for people to handle, because then they're going to start asking about the Sabbath. They're going to have all these questions. He didn't want to deal with that at that moment. And then he didn't want to lose, be ostracized by the rest of the church, governing bodies at the top. And so I said, "Oh, okay, but you're a pastor over your flock, and you're supposed to be able to provide the truth to as a shepherd to your flock." And he said, "Yeah, but it's just now it's not the time, and they're not ready." And I told him, I said, "Well, I wrote a book called Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America." And then he said, "What's it about?" I said, "It's about us being the Israelites." And then he said, he said, "How many pages is it?" And I said, it's 700 pages. And then he said, "Black people ain't gonna read no book." He said, you need to, he said, "I'm gonna tell you right now," he said, "Nobody's gonna read that book." And I said, "Yeah," I said, "People are gonna read it, but you're right, black people don't read. They might not want to pick up a book that they can read it because we're all into the age of watching things on TV and on screen." And he said, if you want to get black people's attention, you got to make a movie." And I said, "Well, I was thinking about that, but I'm not a filmmaker." And so basically, after he said that, that's when I started, thinking about making a movie. Regardless of the fact that I wasn't a filmmaker, I didn't go to school for it, and I didn't know the slightest on how to get it done. But when
So
it's a
can I
world,
please ask him a movie as a filmmaker, especially? I'm not trying to be rude.
If yeah, well, you
Yeah,
definitely are being rude. I
yeah, I
want
was.
the brother to be able to speak and tell his
I'm
story.
sorry.
There will be a time for a question, but I
I'm a
just want
filmmaker,
him
that's
because
why.
a lot of these in it. Okay, who's there talking? Give me a name.
It's M.A. M.S.
MS on the stage. I just want to see where you are.
M.S. M.S.
Okay, no sweat. If everybody could just mute up, I want the brother. A lot of times when he comes in, it's either confrontation. Nobody has actually heard his story or how he got this book out. That's more important than the Q&A, which we'll get to the Q&A. And his journey is important because he's the one that's being vilified as if he done something anti-Semitic or anything like that. So we're gonna let him tell his story, interview him, and then there'll be a Q&A. This is the second time you came off mute, sis. Just be quiet like everybody else is quiet. Let me and him do it. I apologize for that, Ron. You can continue.
so yeah, so then I just tried to figure out how to make a movie, and then of course, you got to have music, you got to have a narrator if it's a documentary, and then you got to have you know pictures or videos. And so I had to put it all together to paint the picture and to get the point across of what I was trying to make. And that took about 3 years to make, and a lot of it from my own money. And then I released the movie in 2000, the end of 2018, early 2019. And so it's been streaming on Amazon and Vimeo on demand since like 2019. Since 2019.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight that point too because this is not a new. Like it didn't come out like last year or year before. It's been out roughly almost over about 3 years, correct?
Yes.
On Amazon.
Yes.
And so and that's important too because it's only because Kyrie shared it that it makes a point. Before you continue, I have did something. I went on Amazon and I just typed in Hitler just to see, because I know Hitler couldn't be on Amazon with all the hell they giving the brother of Hebrews and Negroes. And there's so many books and information you can find out about Hitler, who's the quintessential anti-Semitic poster child. But he's allowed to flourish on that. I just wanted to point that out. You can continue though, Ron. I apologize.
No, but yeah, Hitler's book is on there, and a lot of other books are on there that goes against the Jews and who they say they are. And we all know these books like the 13th Tribe and the Invention of the People and the Life of an American Jew with Marxist Israel, The Hidden Tyranny by Benjamin Friedman, The International Jew. People, talking about that too. Henry Ford. And there's other books, there's Who Was Esau and other things like that nature. So there's a lot of books on there that talk about, the Holocaust, the Third Reich, Adolf Hitler, all that's the transfer agreement, so many different things. But my movie was mainly to prove to people that watch it that we are the descendants of the Israelites. And there was no movie out that I had seen nowhere on Amazon or anywhere that proved that, and used
Right.
different levels of science and Bible and histories and ancient accounts from different civilizations and ethnic groups, and put it all together to prove that we are the Israelites. Nobody had done that, and I believe that at that time it needed to be done, because the Jewish community, they will use all types of stuff to prove and say that they're the people. Like they can speak Hebrew, they're in the land, they can whip up some DNA studies or some articles that say this and say that, and use that against people like in the church that are not well studied to say, well, don't you dare say that Jesus is black and you're the Hebrews because you don't speak Hebrew, your DNA is not found in Hebrew in Israel, and we're keeping these customs and laws, and we haven't skipped a beat, and we left and we came back, and we still know who we are, and you guys don't know who you are, blah blah blah. And so you have to have a lot of evidence to prove who we are, and then you also gotta have a lot of evidence to prove who they are. And even though other nations have done the research on who they come from in terms of Jewish people that know that they're not the real Jews, and they can prove where they come from, these books, although they're bestsellers and people know about them today, black people have wrote books about this, but never had it been done in a movie, and that's the difference.
Right.
That
So what are some of the things like that you used or put in the movie for people to know or identify? And because, like you said, a lot of people have done it. No, what you did is almost like a landmark in Black history, especially for those of us that believe that we're Israelites. Like you said, a lot of people wrote books saying we're Israel. You actually went through the diligent, hard job of making a movie out of it, which is not a small task. It's a big task. Then you went through the process of putting it on Amazon for the earth to see. So what are some of the things for somebody that may not have seen it, or when they go see it, what should they be looking for that you present as evidence? Like give like a rundown, if you want, of the information that's in the documentary itself.
Well, I first like to give the history of the Israelites and how they were in the land of
Yeah, that's
Ham.
fine. You can do that.
Yeah. And who they were having children with, and the color of Shem and the color of Ham, and Europeans or white nations. But then I like to go into the scriptures, and I like to go into accounts from other ethnic groups that were in Central Asia or China or Turkic sources or Iranic sources or Greek Greco-Roman sources, Italian sources, explorers, Arabs, ancient, old Arabs, and then using science such as genetics, use archaeology, use anthropology, you can use craniometry. You can use the analysis of the jaw. You can use linguistics. You can use cartography, the study of maps, ancient maps, also ancient historical texts, uh, and other things. I mean, it's been a while since I looked at the whole movie, myself. But if you combine all these things in genetics, you combine all these things that you can prove that the European Jews are not indigenous to the land of Israel, or never, nor did they spend any time in Africa or in Egypt back in the day before the Exodus. So their ancestry, based on all this scientific evidence and biblical evidence, and using critical thinking and logic and piecing it all together, their origin is exactly where they left and came to Israel. They were already from that area, like Central Asia and the Pontic Steppes, and like Northern Macedonia or Eastern Europe, the Slavic Germanic lands. And majority of people, they migrated to where they are today. So the majority of people were already from their ancestral homeland, which was or Europe, the homeland of the Europeans or the Caucasians. And that's why their DNA on the autosomal side, and maternal and paternal, points more to an ancient European ancestry than any ancestry that links them to Africa or Shem or any Afro-Asiatic ethnic groups that we see today, because the Afro-Asiatic tongue and speakers there are in Africa, and that's a Hamitic Shemitic language. When you talk about Afro-Asiatic, which the Israelites would have had anyway, because they were a people that were mixed with Ham and Shem.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if you was finishing that, Ron. I ain't want to interrupt.
Yeah, I'm finished on that part. Yeah.
So now we fast forward to a time where, of course, Kyrie shares the link to the video, and then now all the backlash, which in hindsight, now I know you and I want to get your take on it before I give how I feel about it. So he shares the video. How has it been for you since he's actually shared the video? Before we get into what they're doing to him, how has it been for you since he's actually shared the video and it's became public that you're the author of the um, book and the movie?
Well, a lot of people don't realize since I started writing the first book, um, my my life has been hell. A lot of people don't see that, but my wife knows better than anybody else, but she's been there the whole time. But once I started writing the book Hebrews and Negroes, we have to understand that Satan is not going to be happy about that, and he comes at us in many ways: spiritual, physical, on your job, in your home, your family, your parents, your brothers, your sisters. I mean, anything. I mean, your finances. It could be anything. And so, these are things that affect every last one of us, and we call trials and tribulations and things that we go through. But sometimes when the Most High has a calling on your life, and the Satan knows that calling that's on your life, just like Satan knew about Job, and God allowed him to test Job, and Job went through the fire, basically lost it all, but he still stood steadfast. And so prior to Kyrie doing what he did, a lot of times you as a I would, for me, I'm not a part of any assembly or any camp, so I'm kind of like solo, and I'm doing this, just Ron Dalton against the world, basically trying to get this movie and book out to people the best way that I can. And so, a lot of times it gets hard when you don't have a lot of support from the global Black community, or just people that you would think would support. And so, being the fact that I have a large family, and I'm self-funding these movies and these books, sacrificing a lot of things based on the calling that the Most High has given me, and the direction that He's been leading me through. Even though it's been through the fire, I knew that eventually, something had to give. Either I'm going to give up, or there has to be a breakthrough. Because at some point you cannot. You have everybody has a breaking point where they just want to give up. Moses had a breaking point, and a lot of people had a breaking point in the Bible. But the Most High usually comes in and says, "Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." Remember Moses was overwhelmed, and the Israelites were complaining. They didn't have faith. He had a lot of Israelites that he had to deal with, and that he needed the 70 elders. He needed to show them miracles. He needed a lot of things. But in terms of my case, prior to what Kyrie did, like 2 days prior to what Kyrie did, I'm not gonna say what led up to it, but basically, I had went outside, got in my car, because the car is a quiet spot when you have 8 kids and your kids are all young, and the house is real busy. And as long as your wife sees you in the house, she's gonna ask you to do something. So I went in my car late at night, like the wee hours of the morning, like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and I just prayed. I prayed to the Most High, and I said, I said, you gave me this gift for a reason. You gave me all this knowledge. You allowed me to be able to put it together, to teach it, to make a book, to make movies, to impact a lot of people worldwide. But yet I'm over here struggling, and I'm going through the fire, and I need some help. Basically I'm saying the brother needs some help. Can I get some help? Can I get a sign? Can I get anything to show me that you have not left me, and that you're here, even though you're in a tight spot, and you need help. But of course, I don't want to ask everybody for help. I want to ask people for this and that, because at the end of the day, a lot of times we look at people and ask them for support, and we think like, okay, he's begging again. He's begging for support. He's begging for this and begging for that. Why should we pay for this? Why should we pay for that? Blah, blah, blah. And so basically, I prayed and prayed and prayed. And after I finished praying, I went to bed, and like a day or two later, a brother, and his name was Lorvins. He called me. I was in the bathroom, and he said, bro, he said, I wanna just cry right now I want to cry for you right now for what just happened. And I said, what? Did Kanye West say something about me on my movies? Like, he watched it, and he was like, nah. He said Kyrie Irving posted your link to your movie on Twitter, and he said, do you know who Kyrie Irving is? And I said, yeah, I heard of him. And he said, well, people are now talking about it, and it's a big thing. And then he said, go to his Twitter and his Instagram story and check it. So I checked it, and I said, oh, I said, wow. I said, because all this time I knew other celebrities knew about the book Hebrews to Negroes in the movie, and they actually had watched it. And some of them actually had gotten the book and told others. And I'm getting direct messages on Instagram from celebrities. I'm seeing their comments in the post that I do on Instagram. These are celebrities, Black celebrities, that people don't know who they are, but none of them would ever post the book or the movie on their social media platforms. It just so happened that Kyrie Irving did that. And when he did that, the whole world is now curious about what this movie is.
When you say that, so like, and the reason why I was asking you your opinion, like, we as believers or followers of the Most High, we believe in the prophetic nature of how things happen. So before I wanted to give my opinion, I definitely wanted to hear yours, because I look at it, and even if you think like you wanted a sign and you look for something, and then Kyrie shares it, do you feel like the Most High gave you a way for this to bring more information, not only to your movie, but also to who we are as a people, who Black people are, like in America and abroad, as far as being the children of Israel?
Yeah, I think that this, what he just did is I see it as something we shouldn't take lightly. I think that in this day and time, this is almost like a warning. It's a warning that either you accept who you are and understand your role in Bible prophecy and start to prepare for what's to come next, or you just, as a Black person, you just reject it and don't understand who you are and your purpose and your destiny and how you fit in times biblical prophecy, and you might end up, it might end up costing your life, or you might end up, being in a bad situation in the future because you had a chance to see this information or get exposed to this information, and you just denied it, because there's a lot of people that are in Africa that are they're severely blinded by Roman Catholic Church Catholicism and white Jesus and the things that the white pastors and bishops and what do they call them names? But anyway, but what they're doing down in Africa, and the people there and the people in the Caribbean, the people in the Americas need to know who they really are, because I believe that if we understand who we really are, that it's going to change a lot of things, things that are that's going to be necessary for us to endure to the end of what's coming. So I think that this thing what Kyrie did is like twofold. It's a blessing because now more and more people are going to wake up to who they are, because Satan and the powers to be that control the media, they've been trying to keep this suppressed for a long time, and they know that because of the fact that we are not all unified in promoting things for each other sometimes, that he knew that somebody in that level of star power, or public opinion, or people just look at him like as a public figure, and what he posts, people are going to look at, they're gonna say, oh, okay, what's this? And so by him doing that, just catapulted this movie and book to another level, because in the book it not only just talks about us being Hebrews, but it talks about a whole lot of other stuff. It talks about Christianity. It talks about Christianity, Islam, Talmudic Judaism, the music industry, the mass media. It talks about a lot of things. It's deep. It's really deep. Our people are lost in many ways. Believing that uh, they're indigenous Indians, believing that they're Egyptians, believing that they're Canaanites, believing that they're Sabaeans, Cushites, all these different things. And so I had to address a lot of these things so that people can get a clear understanding that our true identity is the Israelites. Despite the fact that we want to be everything else other than the Israelite, I had to also address that, and then also address the powers to be that are afflicting our people.
So now with the powers that be, that's where the whole from what I've seen and observed in the documentary, I don't see no anti-Semitic uh, stuff in there. What has anyone ever brought to you what was actually anti-Semitic in the movie, or is it just something that they're just using to make people not have an interest at all in the movie?
The only thing that they bring up, as you know, is the Holocaust. That they said that I denied the Holocaust, and aside from that, that's the main thing that they constantly bring up. Despite of the fact that the whole movie, 3.5 hours, is not about the Holocaust. They know that. They know the movie's not about the Holocaust, but that's the only thing they can bring up to discredit the movie as a last minute attempt to get people to say, "Oh, I'm not watching that anti-Semitic film." Even Jewish people that see that, they're not going to want to watch it because they're thinking that it's going to be, only talking about the Holocaust and we're trying to hurt people and all sort of stuff. If they really watch the movie, they'll actually see that everything that I'm seeing in the movie is valid. It's valid, and they can't debunk it.
Right, and that's why I wanted you to say that on record, because the term anti-Semitic is just being thrown on about that movie, and there's nothing anti-Semitic in the movie by their definition or the biblical definition. There's nothing like that. So I wanted you to get that on record. What is your opinion on Kyrie, if you have any? And I'm definitely gonna open it up to people that have questions. Just if you could, and this is what I say to everybody that has a question. What I've observed the past couple of days, the brother has been in other stages, and it usually leads to someone attacking the brother or doing something like that. And I think just like with Kyrie, regardless of what you believe in, this brother needs to be supported. That's why his link is up at the top. Y'all should all be ordering. If you haven't ordered his documentary or the book, y'all need to click that link up at the top, order that documentary, order the book, and we should support the brother. So I don't mind any question, and he's not going to mind any question. This is me saying that, just seeing what the brother has had to endure. I think he's endured enough. So I think y'all should definitely get all your information from him, ask your questions. I'm going to ask him a couple more questions. Then, of course, I'll open up to the mods first. If y'all have any questions than anybody else on the floor, make sure y'all share the room. It's 724 people in here. Let's get up to like 500 shares. Put this at the top of the clubhouse. Again, you on the One West side of Clubhouse on the One West 100 side of Clubhouse. Shout out to Wack for creating the club on this side. And this is why we're doing this room, to bring this attention and information to y'all. So the question I have for you, and if you have an opinion on it, this will be my last question um exclusively. After this, again, the moderators, if you have a question, y'all can ask a question. What is your opinion or take on Kyrie? Of course, we know Kyrie's the one that shared it. um, they got mad at him when he wouldn't say the words "I apologize." He has since said the words "I apologize," and I believe they gave 6 things that he has to do before he can get reinstated because he got suspended. So, what is your take on that, if any, that you have as far as Kyrie um, on that scenario?
I think that Kyrie, Kyrie is only, I think, 30 years old, something like that. And, I'm 46, and that's when I was 30 years old. I didn't know, I didn't really know a lot of stuff. I didn't know it. None of the stuff I know right now that I know. And, he knows he's finding these things out now, when a lot of us, if you're 46 or 45, you didn't know 15 years ago. And I'm sure he's a reader of books, and he likes to study a lot of things. And I think that he just needs maybe more guidance and direction from older people, like elders, that can give him some advice and some wisdom on what he should be doing, what he should be saying in front of the media, um, what they're going to be looking at when he talks on camera, and everybody's listening to everything he says. Same thing with Kanye. Kanye's Kanye, but Kanye says a lot of things, and we're looking at Kanye like we're behind him, like he's the champ for Black Americans. But a lot of times people they discredit what he says because they're like, okay, Kanye West said this. I don't understand why he said that. It's confusing to me. And now he's saying this, now he's saying that, and that's why they think they label him as being bipolar or having some kind of issue mentally. But with Kyrie, I mean, I just see Kyrie's is inside. He's battling a lot of things, and you could probably look at him and tell when he's speaking, that he's wrestling with a lot of stuff. And we don't know his whole personal business behind the scenes, but he said what he did. He said what he said. He expressed his freedom, his right to express, and his right to have free speech in front of the whole world. And he really didn't say anything. He just expressed himself in regards to sharing the link on his social media, and that was it. That was really it. He didn't really talk. He didn't really say anything
He
about
didn't
the
say
movie.
one
Like,
word. Right.
I watched. This is what I liked about the movie. This is what I learned. He didn't do like a review of the movie and tell people what he learned about it. He just posted it, and everybody was like, "Why did he post that?" And let's check it out and see what it's about. And then the Jews, when they found out that the movie, you know, um, is about waking up Black people, the only thing that they could hone in on was that one quote from that Jewish man, and and that one quote automatically discredits the whole film as being anti-Semitic, and that's just a trick that they use. And Kyrie, unfortunately, by doing that, he probably didn't even think that it was going to be a big deal, because when he watched the film, I'm pretty sure he didn't think that it was all anti-Semitic. But they can piece apart one thing in that movie, and say that it's anti-Semitic. And the one thing that they found that they wanted to use against Kyrie was that in the movie Ron Dalton denies the Holocaust. So that's the anti-Semitic thing about it.
All right, appreciate that. Again, welcome to One West on the Hunter side. The title of this room is Hebrew to Negroes. Author discusses Kyrie Irving in the documentary. We're in the room with Ron Dalton, the author of the actual movie. He definitely gave a good history of how he came up with it. So we found out he actually wrote 4 books, not just one. It was a black sister from Detroit. Shout out to King Yo. I know he liked that. That made the book possible to even be published. He wrote the movie. The movie has been on Amazon since 2019, and of course in 2022, this year, that's when Kyrie Irving shared the link to the video that caused all the mass hysteria, which for those of us that are in the truth, we applaud things like this. We applaud the truth being able to be pushed, no matter how much the struggle is, like Ron said, the truth has to come out. So I'm going to definitely open up the floor to the moderators first. So if any mod has a question, of course, y'all can definitely ask him a question on any subject y'all choose. His link, I pinned a different link up to the top. That's his business card, digital business card. Shout out to 10K for creating the card for him. And so if anybody has a question on the stage, the floor is now open to y'all. I want to yield to the mods first. If y'all have a question, and then of course anybody in the audience, y'all can ask them a question as well.
Yeah, could you hear me? Because I had a question for Ron real quick.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey Ron, what's going on? This Daniela. What's going on, King? Good to speak to you. I have a question because I don't want this to get glossed over because it's extremely important because this is what's being parroted in the media. So I want everybody in this room, those that are not aware of this information, I want you to have a chance to elaborate on this a little bit further than you did. So again, there are quote unquote anti-Semitic claims against your movie. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and you definitely can elaborate. It's with respect to the number of Jews that were killed during the Holocaust. So what you did was you brought light to the fact that amongst Jewish scholars, not African Americans, not Hebrew Israelites, but amongst Jewish scholars, there is a debate about whether it was actually 6 million or less. They're debating that. You simply made reference to that conversation. And they skipped over them arguing about it and called you the anti-Semite, but not the people that's actually having the argument. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's it. Because he's not the only Jewish person that has said about the number, and he just happened to be the one that I used in the quote. That you remember in the quote, it says that 6 million people died in the Holocaust.
Hey, Ron, give them the reference though, Ron. Don't talk like you're talking to me. Talk to the people give the people the name of the person that said it and everything. Don't talk like you're talking to me.
Yeah, his name was Harold Wallace Rosenthal. He was a Jew. He worked for Senator Jacob Javits, who was once the attorney, New York City Attorney General, and he had an interview. In the interview, he laid out 5 points that he said were false, at least in his opinion. And one of those points is that 6 million people died in the Holocaust. He didn't say that the Holocaust never existed. He never said that the Holocaust was actual a real historical event. He didn't. If he wanted to say that, he could have said that one of the 5 falsehoods is that the Holocaust was a real historical event. He said that 6 million people died in the Holocaust, and so just like all the Jewish people that we see that other than him that have questioned that number, they always question the number. Nobody's going to sit here and say that World War II and Hitler and the Third Reich and the persecution of the Jews and what they went through did not happen at all in history. We can see it. We can see TV. We can see TV. We can see TV and video, and you can go to Getty and Alamy and you can look at the pictures and know that something happened in that time frame in the Rhineland in Eastern Europe for them to even have the reason to come to Israel. So you had to have a reason for them to come to Israel, in 1948. So we know what went down over there. But this Jewish man, had an issue with the number, and that issue with the number from the Jewish man, because he said it, I didn't say it, labels me an anti-Semitic. But when a Jewish person says something, like if the Jewish person says we're not the real Jews, they're not going to say he's anti-Semitic because he's Jewish, just like them. If a Jewish person says that Jesus Christ wasn't a Jew, then he can't be considered anti-Semitic because he's Jewish. They can't use that term on somebody that's Jewish, because you can't be anti-black if you're black. So but that's the way how the media and the Jews paint the narrative and get everybody to jump on this anti-Semitism bandwagon that vilifies people that are labeled as anti-Semitic. And that's what Kanye West went through, and that's what Kyrie is going through. And nobody can seem to challenge their word, because they're the ones that created it, and they're the ones that are able to enforce the punishment of being labeled an anti-Semitic.
Thank you for that, Ron. That was important. Thank you. Yak, you got it, bro.
Kind of, again, if any of the other mods, again, I want to yield to the mods first. If they have a question for Ron on the subject, I wanted to yield to them first. So do any other moderators have a question for Ron?
Yeah, let me go quick, Captain. This is 10K.
Hey, go ahead.
What's up, Ron? Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about the support the black men in Clubhouse are using their influence to spread your message? How do you feel about that?
Wait, say the question again.
Yeah, and let me correct. How do you feel about the support you're getting from the black men and women on Clubhouse to spread your message and expose the message they're trying to hide? How do you feel about that support you're getting from us?
I think that I'm getting a lot of support from the black community right now, from what I see on social media and on the news.
So he asked you how you feel about it. Like, how do you feel about the impact of the support that you're getting?
Oh, the impact is great. We need to have support in regards to something that we all believe in. Many of us believe that Jesus wasn't white, and that we are the original Hebrews, and that we are the true Jews, we're Israelites. And now it's just the time that this thing that Kyrie did is bringing people together to speak out all together on their platforms about our identity is not just so-called Negro and African American, but now we're stepping up and saying that we are the Israelites. We're acknowledging this, and if we haven't acknowledged this, now we're finding out that we are, and we're proud about it, and we're not we're not trying to hide it or be embarrassed by saying it, because we want to still be labeled a Christian. I think people now get the point that you can call yourself a Christian, but your identity and your heritage, your lineage, where you come from, is that of the seed of Jacob. And so that's what has a lot of people fired up. And we're not taking this narrative anymore that you guys need to just be quiet and just accept your slave movies every year and just acknowledge that you guys are descendants of slaves from Africa, and that's it. So this is actually good. What's happening?
Anybody else? Any other mods got a question? And 10K, if you got another question, of course you can ask. I was just making sure the mods know they can too.
Yeah, Captain, I'm just trying to set the pace as to what we should do as independent business owners on the app. Because the reality of the situation is, if our opinion is tied to our income, we're screwed. So if we don't, as independent individual, be willing to risk it all, restart it all for the truth, we're going to be in trouble. There should be more public figures coming out and sharing this energy. So I think what we're doing here is starting something that will go viral. So I'm all for it. I'm all for the ride. Thank you so much, Captain. Thank you so much, Moses. I'm here to support.
No sweat, 10K. Anybody else got a question as far as the mods before I give it to the floor? Any other mods got questions? All right. One question from the audience real fast, Ron. It's a quick question you can answer. Chill D asked, has anyone in the media reached out to you in regards to the documentary, the movie, or the book?
You mean like Newsweek? people like that?
Yeah, like any like news outlets or anything like that. That was one of the questions that was asked from the audience. And if anyone else has a question in the audience and you don't want to come up, you can type it in the chat or message me directly. But that was the question they had, Ron.
Yes. So, CNN, the Washington Journal, Newsweek, I think the Washington Post, and one more, but they want is phone interviews that they can listen, and then they can hang up and then write down
That's what
what
I
they
was
want.
going to. Right. That's what I was going to. So not nothing live where they can hear, the people can hear your answers raw. More like something where
Yeah.
they could record it and edit it. So have you
Yeah.
done any? I guess that would be a question I would ask. Have you done any interviews since then?
No, one guy called me. He said he was with the Washington Journal or Washington Post, and he said he should be excited what's happening right now. Your book and your movie wasn't really well known, and now it's getting media attention across the world. And he said, are you seeing an increase in sales? And I said, what do you think? I said, before, I'm just, a filmmaker and book author in Michigan, and I don't have the, a million followers. And I said, Kyrie had millions of followers, and he posted my book and my movie to his followers. So automatically, what do you think? What happened to my sales? That happened. So you just answered your own question. And then he asked me, well, can you tell me how many people have bought your book and your movie since then? And I said, why is that important? And he said, well, it's kind of important to know how many people have been affected by your movie and your book since you did that. He said, is there a way you can find out? I said, well, and I knew where he was going with it. I said, there's analytics. Yes, you can look it up and find the analytics of how many people have rented it or bought the book or movie or whatever. And then he said, can you go look right now and just give me a ballpark figure? And I said, no. I said, because that's none of your business and it's not important. And he said, well, why can't you just tell me? I said, because it's none of your business. Not important. I said, why do you care how many people have seen the movie or watched it? If I told you 15 million, or what are you going to say? Are you going to be happy? You're going to be sad? You're going to be mad? Or who are you going to report it to? Are you gonna start splitting bullets when you tell your people that Ron Dalton said 15 million people watched the movie? Because they're looking at the fact that how many people have been affected and seen this movie, because they're trying to count how much blood loss has happened amongst this movie out. They're trying to assess the damage, and then also assess how much money has this guy made. He made money, and on top of that, he's caused a lot of damage in terms of the other nations now understanding that we are the true Israelites. So they're trying to do damage control and figure out, okay, we need to stop this and stop the bleeding as fast as we can by getting Kyrie to apologize and denounce the film and move on to another topic of the news, so we can just end this discussion and Kyrie can go back to playing basketball and people can stop talking about Ron Dalton's book and movies on the media. So that's all. That's really all at the end of the day what they want to know when they call these questions. They want to know, how'd you make the movie? Who helped you? Did you talk to Kyrie Irving? Did y'all talk on the phone? Did you have funding? Did you have sponsors? And how much did it cost to make the movie? And did you go to all these locations to make the movie? And this and that. And I just told the guy, look,
They're trying to track your whole thing. They want the whole rundown. It sounds like
they want the whole rundown. And like I said, you can make a movie with a computer. And
that's it.
And
right.
He said, I don't understand. I said, a computer and an editing program. I said, like Final Cut Pro, like Adobe Premiere, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve. I said, these are editing programs you can use on your computer to make a movie. And so he said, well, you had no training. I said, but again, you got YouTube and you can learn.
So that people can know who's this asking you and saying all this stuff to you.
The Washington
Post. And I wanted people to be aware, because the reason, part of the reason why they're doing it, not just to shut you down, but also how could someone, as I'm hearing you say, you could do this with Final Cut Pro and the Adobe and stuff like that. I could only imagine in their minds is like, how could this N-word do that with just Final Cut Pro? Like, you understand what I mean? Like, how could he? It can't be that somebody had to have funded you, somebody had to have done it, and you're making it so simplistic, and it almost sounds a little bit too much for them to digest that part. You understand?
Yeah. He didn't believe a lot of what I said. He thought I had funding, but
Right.
I kept the answers the same, and
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to know where I was at. I said it's not important. Like a lot of times the Jews they will ask you, so where do you work at? What do you do?
Right.
Where do you live at? They want to know all these things so they can make their phone calls and maybe get you fired, or they start watching you. And so I told none of your business. You don't need to know that.
Damn right. And one
Because
thing I want to point. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
no, some of the stuff they might want to put in their article, but some of the stuff they want to also report back to whoever. And I didn't give them all the information that they wanted, basically. And I just kind of played with them on the phone. And then, but anyway, despite all of that, they still go back and write what they want to write.
And then two things. One thing I wanted to point out: reason why you was able to do it, of course, because the Lord was with you. So you could have had a stick, you could have had a black and white TV, you'd have been able to do it. The second question, somebody asked was, did any black media reach out to you? I know you mentioned the Washington Post, but did any like black media reach out to you or offer any type of support or anything like that? And these are questions, of course, that I'm getting, and I'm just asking them as I get them. So that was one of the questions they wanted to know.
Not really. Not really. The Breakfast Club, no. Drink Champs, no. None of these major black media outlets have not reached out to me to have an interview. No.
10K, that's what 10K said about us using like Clubhouse. We're streaming this on YouTube as well, because we'll support you. You know what I mean? We'll push this information out. And that's what makes it so important to use every media stream that we have to get this type of information out. I did hear somebody come off mute. I don't know if they had a question.
That was me, Cap, Salakia. What's going on, Ron? This is Officer Chapat, ISBK. I just want to ask you real quick, have you gotten any opposition from like that community? You know what I'm saying? Like some of their so-called, fighters or warriors, like, how we would get apologists, you know what I'm saying, when we go against Christians. Have any of these rabbis tried to come at you and try to dispute it in the midst of this media storm that's going on right now?
No rabbi has emailed me. The only thing they want to do is shut me down from YouTube, because that's probably where they see the largest following. And when I posted videos after the Kyrie incident, the videos started getting over 200,000 views in less than a week. And so after that happened, after that one video that they did, I think it's still on YouTube. It has like almost 500,000 views. They took down the video I did after that. They took it down. They gave me 2 strikes, and they've been scouring YouTube from old videos like 2 years ago to give me all types of strikes so that they can, of course, tell you that the next strike you get, your channel will be deleted. So right now I can't post on my main YouTube channel because, they know that if I post on YouTube now, that the YouTube views are going to be 200, 300, 400, 500,000 on YouTube. And so they had to shut that down and probably give me another strike within 10 days so they can just eliminate that channel from YouTube. So people can wonder, well, how do we find out about Ron Dalton? And so TikTok and Instagram, they're also shadow banning me on Instagram, so people can't easily find me. They can't tag me. It's a lot of things that they just can't do on Instagram because YouTube is finding all that it can do to shadow ban you and silence you so that nobody can see what you're doing. So that if I come out with another movie or 2 movies or another book, how are people going to know about it unless I'm on social media? We're not going to have celebrities that are just going to start posting, this did a new movie, go check it out. that's not gonna happen, at least in in the NBA or the NFL or black celebrities, actors, comedians. They're not gonna do that and get it out to the whole world. That is the ultimate piece of marketing, is to have a celebrity market your stuff. And then with the free marketing the Jews have done, they actually catapulted it even further. But in terms of me being relevant to the public eye, in terms of what I'm doing and what I'm doing in the future, by shutting me down from social media, then they can kind of suppress the Hebrews to Negroes movement, unless other black people on social media that have, I have maybe 50,000 followers, 100,000, 200,000 followers, that they share it too, and then it starts to become a thing that where everybody's talking about Hebrews to Negroes on social media from the black community, and that's the thing that they probably don't like, the fact that this has caused a lot of black YouTube channels and white to talk about Hebrews to Negroes, because it's given the movie and the book free marketing and advertising. So it's actually doing the opposite of what they intended to do, which is to conceal it, and that's called the Streisand effect. Like Barbara Streisand, it's called the Streisand effect. So you try to suppress and cover something up, but in doing so, you draw more attention to it, which creates the opposite effect of what you try to do in the first place, which is to cover it up.
Hey, Salak, I got a question if I could, Cap.
Good.
Hey, shalom to the brother, man. This awesome Malakma with the ISUPK. My question is, like right now, with all the light being shown, with all the attention being put on you and Kyrie and the whole Jewish and Israelite community, like what would you require from black people now? When I mean black, I mean anybody that identifies as black, the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans and all that. Now, what do you require from us now? Now that everybody has your ear, you know what I'm saying? Or now that you have everybody's ear, Salaki, what do you require from them?
I would just say support. And support doesn't just mean, keep up the good work. We're praying for you. Hang in there. Uh, don't back down. Don't give up. Don't let them buy you out. All this, stuff that I've been getting. It also means that we have to support in promoting the work, the content, to get it out there to the whole world. And then, being the fact that, people know that I'm a filmmaker and a book author, and I don't have Kyrie Irving or Kanye West money. And if the Jews are successful in taking down the books and the movies from Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or Vimeo on demand or any platform that they can search and find, and then go to that platform and say, there's a movie on your platform that's filled with hate speech and anti-Semitic Semitism. You need to take it down. And if they take these things down, then that destroys a lot of the income that that I rely on in terms of a filmmaker. As an independent filmmaker, you only make money from movie showings if you can get it into Hollywood. If you can't get into Hollywood, like the major theaters, like Avengers and Will Smith movies and Denzel Washington movies, then you're stuck with getting your film on these platforms like Netflix and Vudu and Redbox and Amazon. Amazon is one of the least difficult platforms to get your movie on. And once you take that away for independent filmmakers, then the filmmaker, what does he have left to do other than to put it on his own platform, or to put it on YouTube for free, or to let it sit on his hard drive and not make him no money, so that he can't have the money to make another film. He may not have the
So
money to actually take care of the family, and then he will have to go back to being like a regular 9-to-5 worker.
So, do you have or need? This is one of the questions for Dr. O. She's on the stage, but this is something she had put in the back chat. Sis, I don't know if you want to ask the question yourself, or I could ask for you if you want. If you're on the stage, the question she had was, do you have or do you need any investors? Being that you mentioned about the difficulty and the support, I think that's a good question to ask. Um, so that's the question that she asked.
Yeah, I need investors because at the end of the day, to do really nice movies, you need to pay people. You got to pay editors. You can have a team of editors, not just me doing everything. And you got to have audio engineers. You got to have people that are skilled in videography, photography, drones. You got to have money for travel. To travel to different countries, like going to Africa. Just like the white Jews, when they go into Africa and they go into Zimbabwe, they talk to the Lemba Jews. They go to South Africa, they go to Ethiopia, they go to Nigeria, talk to the Igbo Jews. They go to Ghana, they go to Rwanda, they go to Congo, they go to Tanzania, they go to Uganda, they go to Senegal, they go to Cameroon, they go everywhere. Trying to find these black people that are keeping these traditions and customs, and they do a documentary talking about the lost tribes of Israel, but then they say they claim, they state, they believe, they say. This is how the Jewish filmmakers, how they make their documentaries when it comes to black people. They claim to be descendants of the children of Israel. They claim to be, from the house of Gad. They claim to be this. They say this. So that's coming from their perspective, and they can do that because when they desire to make a movie about finding the Israelites and reuniting the tribes, like they're the ones reuniting the tribes, then they can easily tell the Jewish community that our budget is $1 million or it's 500,000, and they can go out and they can get this money so that they can have a crew that flies everywhere to go do a documentary on these things, because the people are there. There's people in America, there's people in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, the Maroons, there's people in the Bahamas and Trinidad and Antigua and Haiti and other places that are willing to speak on camera about what they know in regards to the history of their people and the slave trades and the Jewish involvement in the slave trades and a lot of different things. So all these things could be documented and put on into film. It's just that to do these films, it requires a substantial amount of money, and without investors and crowdfunding and sponsorship, it's gonna fall on me to have to independently myself finance these movies with my own money, and to actually sit down and edit it myself, to do everything myself, and to do true
So
production, you have to have a team. Tyler Perry, like he said in that video, he said when he goes to Bahamas, he writes a whole show, and then he sends it to his team in Atlanta, and they start producing it. And then when he's ready to do another show, he goes to the Bahamas, he sits there, he chills for like a whole month and gets his head right, and he writes a whole show. Then he kicks it back to his team in Atlanta, and it's his the producers and the filmmakers, and they start producing it. All he does is just do what he do best, and then he has a team that constantly keeps putting out content to people in America. That's how he continues to do what he does. And the same thing with Marvel, the same thing with Walt Disney. They do the same thing, but in terms of Hebrews to Negroes films, obviously we're talking about real stuff that's going to impact our people. We don't have I don't have any support investors for these kind of things. And so right
so
now as we speak, I have people that have the skills to edit. They've made movies. They have camera crews and equipment in the Caribbean, in Ghana, in Africa, in America, but we can't mobilize and start doing things unless we have money. Meanwhile,
well,
everything
yeah,
that
no, yeah.
yeah.
So what I wanted to chime in around. So back to 10K, which brought up an excellent point for those that do have that skill set or do want to invest, especially for the sister that asked the question in the back. Y'all need to click this brother's link at the top. That's his digital card. Get in contact with him. Get in touch with him. And if you have resources that can help the brother, I think that's what's important. So I just wanted to point that out. Anybody else have a question? It's popcorn style, so it's not open to the whole floor, whether you're a moderator or not. We just ask that, we keep the conversation clean. This is being recorded. So we want the conversation to be clean. So the floor is now open.
Yeah, could he just name the name of the Jewish guy that questioned the name of the number of Jews that were killed? I know he said it was Harold something, but I couldn't figure out the rest.
It's Harold Wallace Rosenthal. Harold Wallace Rosenthal. Just Google the hidden tyranny. The interview with him and Charles Wiseman. And I think 1976. I think that was the year he did it.
Yo,
Yeah,
what's up,
I got.
bro? So, I see a lot of people when they bring up and try to attack you, they particularly bring up a quote that you brought up by Hitler, and I want to kind of bring something full circle for you because my mother told me this when I was a little boy. This is like something in the black community. Jesse Owens had some family in Buffalo, and we knew him. My mother knew him. So when he won that Olympic race, uh, Harry S. Truman didn't shake his hand. He only shook the white person's hand, but Hitler went and shook everyone's hand. That's what the Jesse Owens said till his death. And then on top of that, the quote that you said about God's them stealing the true Jews, that was in a book where it had a piece of information redacted, but it's hard to find what book it was. I don't know if you did the research, so I guess my question to you is, do you know what book that came from?
People will say that, like when I first seen that was like years ago on Instagram, and since then it's been circulating. And the thing we have to realize is that just because you can't find where it's at does not mean that it never happened. And there are people that are sworn to secrecy, but then they'll tell you something that that other people might not know about because it was told to one person, and then somehow it gets out somewhere, and then people look at it like, well, fact checks and Snopes and all these different things says that it's not true. They never said that. We don't know where it's at because you can't find the source of where it was said, so therefore we can't use it as truth. But how do you know it's not true? Because back in those days, they didn't have DVDs, and it was everything was black and white, and we didn't have CNN and Fox 2 News and TNT and ESPN and Washington Post and all sort of stuff. The paparazzi and also like we have it now. And just like that quote that Gamal Abdel Nasser said when he said, "You left here black and came back white." A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, there's nowhere that he said that. That's not true. That's fact. That's fiction." They'll say that. Oh, he didn't say that. But then if you go talk to people from Egypt and you show them his picture, and they say, "Oh, I know him. He was a great president. We loved him." And you show them the quote, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember he said that. Yeah, I was there. I heard him say that." We don't. We Of course he didn't say this in English. He said this in his language, Arabic. So we will look at things and because somebody says we can't find where it was said, we want to dismiss it as not being true. But what I wanted people to do was to think. Just think about that quote, because nobody can prove it didn't exist. Just like nobody can say that it did exist, because people are going by the fact that we want to know what book was it in, and if we can't find that book, then it didn't happen. But that quote came from somewhere. It came from somewhere, and it just ain't just fall off the sky into somebody's lap, and somebody just decided to post that. Obviously it leaked into the world for a reason. Just like there's a lot of things that leak in regards to UFOs and this, all types of conspiracy stuff that we probably think of like, what, like, they say there's a dinosaur in the Congo, in the waters, like in the swamp, but people will say that's not true. But then the locals will say, yes, it is true. We've seen it. We've seen this animal. It looks like a ancient dinosaur in the Congo in the waters. But when you say certain things, people of course are going to say that's not true. We can't find it on Google. It does not exist. But these things. I mean, Hitler said some stuff in that quote. At least they're looking at that quote, saying that the Jews are going to extort America or whatever. And we have to understand, that these are quotes. And when we look at the fact that you have bribery and blackmail is one of the main forms of extortion. And if you understand the history of the United States of America and the banking system in Europe and how I got over here with the Rothschilds and the Warburgs and the JP Morgan Chase and Jekyll Island, Jekyll Club, the Panic of 1906, the assassination attempt on Andrew Jackson, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, the assassination of JFK, the charter banks, all these things. If you understand the history of the United States of America, and even the czars and the Bolsheviks and these different things, you just go throughout history, you're gonna see a lot of bribery, blackmail, extortion. You know, we know that in Africa and other places, if you don't go along with the narrative or the agenda, you can be taken out or mysteriously die. We all know these things. I mean, people in Africa talk about this stuff all the time. So we gotta understand that when we read that quote, you know, I want people to think about what he said, because the Negroes are the jewels of God. They're our God's chosen people, and America knows this. America knows this. America knows that the so-called Negro is not just an African from West Africa, and that they give us a byword name, Negro, because they want to cover up who we really are. And when they classify the languages of sub-Saharan Africa, they don't classify the Bantu Niger-Congo language as being Afro-Asiatic. They classify it as being Niger-Cordofanian or Niger-Congo, because that's kind of like an older term. So, you know, when you look at the Afro-Asiatic languages that are somewhat classified as a branch of Semitic languages, you'll see that it's labeled, you know, according to the Hausa. They'll label the Semitic languages going according to the Ge'ez, or the language of the Ethiopian Jews, or the Amhara, or the Eritrean Tigrayans. These are Semitic languages, and there's other languages that are Cushitic, like the Oromo and the Somalians, you know. And of course, they'll talk about Arabic and Hebrew, but they're never going to classify the languages that our ancestors spoke before they got on the slave ships as a Semitic or Afro-Asiatic language. They're just going to say it's Niger-Congo Bantoid language, and the people that were taken on slaves, they were known as Negroes. And so you got to ask yourself, you know, America has a lot of covering up that they've done in our history. And, you know, I believe in one of the books, I forgot, I put it in my book, Hitler knows that the Jews were not the true Israelites. He knew that, but he did know that the Israelites, they have ancestry through Shem and Ham and Ham. So when he mentioned that, when it's mentioned in his book, when he mentioned Ham and Shem, then you gotta start asking yourself, okay, well, who are the real Shemites and who are the real Hamites? And the fact of the matter is, he knew that the Eastern European Jews were not the bloodline descendants of the ancient Israelites. He knew that they were a people of many nations, like when you have a dog, and a dog is a mix between a pit bull and a German Shepherd and this and that. He's like a mongrel, so he's a mixture of many different, dogs. So but when he knew that the Ashkenazi Jews and the European Jews were just a mixture of people that followed Judaism and then called themselves Jews and say that they're from the tribe of Judah, when Hitler really knew the true ethnic origin and composition of the true Israelites. And a lot of people don't talk about that because, you know, that's like taboo to say that Hitler knew who the real Israelites were.
Can I give you a little bit more too, bro? I want to say you should watch Omar Thibodeau. He does a whole tracing, like he a pastor. He do a whole tracing to Edom from Esau all the way to now. Talks about the Federal Reserve. Talks about Hitler. He actually reminded me something I learned in 7th grade. And if you do a part 2, I think you should mention this, or I hope you mention it, you know, sometime. But Hitler won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1939. Look it up. They rescinded it, and they say it's a joke, but that was a real Nobel Peace Laureate. Hitler was just as popular as Nelson Mandela. So you look into that. Omar Thibodeau, he does a really good sermon on explaining why Hitler waged war.
And you know, the other thing too is like the same DNA that is seen in Adolf Hitler, Napoleon of France, the same DNA that's seen in King Leopold II of Belgium, the king of he made himself king of the Congo, but he was the king of Belgium. The same DNA that are in these people are the same DNA that are in the Ashkenazi Jews. So if Hitler has the same DNA as the Ashkenazi Jews, if the King Leopold that killed 10 million Congolese in the Congo, if he has the same DNA that's seen in Ashkenazi Jews to this day, If Napoleon has the same DNA that's seen in Ashkenazi Jews to this day, if Alexander the Great has DNA that's seen in Ashkenazi Jews to this day, if Emperor Titus or Caesar Augustus has DNA that's seen in Ashkenazi Jews to this day, then we have to ask ask ourselves, well, were they Jews too? No, they weren't Jews. They were children of other nations, but the only differences between them and the Jews that the Jews, they converted to Judaism and became known as Jews. But in terms of their ancestry, Hitler had the same ancestry or lineage as many Jews today, just like King Leopold, just like Alexander the Great, just like Caesar Augustus, and others that are in Europe.
Yeah, I got a quick question, if I could.
Yeah, good. It's popcorn style. You can ask your question.
Oh, cut him, cut him. All right, this is Austin Quam, of the IHPK. Ron, it's not like it. Ron, have you had any pushback from the Black Jewish community?
What do you mean, the Black Jewish community?
You know the black people who.
I think he's saying the brothers that would follow according to Amalek as opposed to us. That community.
You mean black? Oh, black like Black Orthodox Jews?
Yeah, those that would be like we would look at it and say you're Jewish. That
Oh,
believe that you know what I mean, like they believe that the Ashkenazis are Jewish people too.
oh, okay. No, I haven't got any pushback from them. You know, I don't. Like I said, the Jews have not emailed me for a debate. Their top rabbis, nobody's, emailed me saying, "Let's go, let's get uh, a panel of our top rabbis versus you guys, and let's end all this." They're not. They haven't done that. They haven't for years. I've been challenging them, but they're not going to do that.
Question. Did you cover Jesse Owens? Like, I know that he ran in front of Hitler during the Olympics. And
Yeah, I think a brother just mentioned it. I don't know if you're the same brother or not, but I think. But you can not saying you can't.
Oh, yeah, I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Like, nah, you talking about something else though. I'm talking about Hitler only shook. Hitler's the only one that shook the black people's hands. Harry S. Truman, their own president, didn't shake his hand. That's what Jesse Owens told my family.
Yeah, that's what I was, speaking on. I didn't hear, I didn't hear you cover it, but yeah, he was saying out there, he said Hitler didn't, it wasn't Hitler that treated him bad. It said that when he came back to America is when he
He
had
was a
the issues,
janitor.
the problems. Yeah, he was like, that's where the problems and all the hate was. He was like, I'm not saying Hitler was, no stand-up guy, but
Yeah, me either.
yeah.
I have other questions I could ask from the crowd, but I'm trying to get the people that are on the stage. If y'all have questions, now is the time to ask the brother if y'all got questions.
Salakia Cap.
Good.
Salakia, if I may, this is Officer Mashallah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Out of IHBK. I just wanted to ask Ron, like, I know, it was Kyrie kind of took your book to the next level kind of unexpectedly, right? How would you what would be your ideal way now going forward to take it to the next level?
Oh man, that'd be well, I would say that we would need to have this type of thing that Kyrie did. If we can get the players, the NBA, the NFL, those that's in the music industry or the movie industry, to start standing up for what you believe in, what you know is true, and not being scared of this anti-Semitism word, and just sharing what you believe in, your freedom of expression and speech. Utilize that. You got social media. Don't be scared to post nothing because you're gonna be canceled. You're gonna be, you know, your bank's gonna tell you can't bank with them no more. I mean, I understand that that's a lot to swallow, not to deal with. But if the majority of the NBA, like, is 70% of the NBA or even 50% of the NBA stood up with Kyrie, and they all started posting Hebrews to Negroes as in support of Kyrie. Like, as long as they all started posting Hebrews to Negroes on their Twitter or Instagram in support of Kyrie, what are they going to do to the other 50% of the NBA that's doing that? They're going to cancel them too? Because the NBA, you can't play another team. If the team is not playing, like, if the team is not, if there's nobody to play because everybody's been suspended, then you have no NBA. So you can't. You can.
Hey Ron, one second, Ron. Somebody on the stage has whack block on the floor. I would hate to have to drop the entire floor, but I will. So if you got whack 100 blocked on the stage, we're gonna pause the interview just for a quick second, Ron, if you don't mind. I would hate to drop the floor
Hey,
to bring it.
it was
Hey, just drop it.
bam.
Just drop yourself. If you got whack block, just drop yourself. Don't say nothing. Just drop yourself, and let's
Yeah,
keep it.
just drop yourself. So, and for those that don't know, Wack is the one that got this room created on this side, and I worked with him to get Ron in here. So if you have Wack block, I'll give you about 2 seconds before I just move everybody down. If you got him blocked, just go ahead and move yourself down. We don't even have to know, or you could be man or woman enough to say you got him blocked. If not, I'll just move everybody down to the bottom. All right. I know R&B is R&B working with him to see if he can get in here. I want to ping him
Yeah,
in here.
now.
He's in here. Yeah, he is here now.
Okay. All right, no sweat. All right, Ron, you can finish.
No, they we have to if the celebrities can't unite behind Kyrie and show some unity for once in our community, then it's up to us to keep the fire lit and to keep the pressure going, because they don't want us to continue to support one another in unison. They don't want to do that. They don't want to see that people are campaigning for Ron, who had the money that he needs to make more movies and to hire a bigger team so that he could take this, worldwide. Because people that are in Africa and in Mexico or Brazil and in Europe and in Japan and other areas, they're hearing about this, because I'm getting the emails, I'm getting orders from other countries. People are requesting the movie to be translated into Portuguese and Spanish and Dutch and these other languages that Swahili. They're like, we need this over here. We need this over here too. So it's sparking a lot of questions, and it's definitely hitting different parts of the world, and that's something that they don't want. Because this is the time of the awakening, and this awakening is their biggest nightmare. But as long as they can keep many of us not supporting one another and standing up against this Goliath, then the this message, it's already done a lot of damage already as it is, but they're hoping that it starts to die down. They're hoping that if they can get the movies and the books off of Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and if Kyrie does what he's supposed to do in terms of his checklist, and he comes back to the NBA, that they can move on to something else, and that they don't have to keep talking about Hebrews to Negroes. And the media don't have the social media won't have nothing to talk about either, because it'll be old news. But we have to, behind the scenes, keep Hebrews to Negroes relevant, and the fact that once we come together and then say I put out another movie, now how are we gonna get the whole world to know that it's out and that it's streaming here or there, so that millions of people can watch this movie now? Because now that we've seen this movie, they're gonna be curious about the next movie and the next movie, and of course, I don't know if Kyrie is gonna do the same thing that he did this time for another movie. Which there are other movies that I have that Kyrie didn't post or nobody has posted, because he's already getting a lot of heat for this movie.
Can
But
you give us those movies, Ron?
yeah, so the second movie is called Hebrews to Negroes 2, Revelation, the Age of the Awakening. And that movie provides the truth about the identity of the white Arabs and the white Jews, where they come from, and it also
Is that
talks.
is that the one where you interviewed us? Because I know you interviewed myself, Daniela, and a couple of others when we was at your premiere in New
No,
York.
the one where you were in is the Curses of Israel,
Okay, got you.
and
Okay,
that's still a series that needs to be seen and done,
right.
because the Curses of Israel, we could prove the Curses of Israel from beginning to end in our community, and in other in the Caribbean and other areas. We just have to have
Hmm.
a camera team actually go in these communities and show the examples of how they own all the liquor stores, they own all the
Hmm.
Coney Islands, they own all this, they own everything, and how we can prove all these things, and so the curse.
And I want to highlight something real fast, Ron, because Ron, I noticed in a lot of the different rooms in 10K's room that he had the last time, they had mentioned the phrase BHI, which is like Black Hebrew Israelites, which is a derogatory term. And when it was said, they was like, well, that's only applies to a certain type of Black people that consider themselves Israelites. In this day and age that we in, Kyrie should have all of our support. I mean, full fledged, just like Ron should have all of our support. And the reason why I highlighted that I was in at Ron's premiere and participated along with Kadazai, who's on the stage, Danya Allah, who's on the stage, and others, is because regardless of the differences of how you believe in that book, we are all the children of Israel. And if we don't have some type of united front to stand against these oppressors that don't care what type of Israelite you call yourself, we'll fall. So if you got resources, y'all need to give them to Ron. Let Ron know, because he has a platform or avenue, or at least a skill set to get it done. So we should all give him that support. Ron, you can finish.
The only thing we need is a platform that's that's uh that's not governed by content guidelines, and I'm working on that right now. That's one of the things I'm working on right now, because I realized that uh if you didn't build it from scratch, then they
I'm glad you're saying that too, Ron, because that's important too.
yeah, if you didn't build it from scratch, then the people that you're using always has rules and guidelines that you have to abide by. And if you don't abide by those rules and guidelines, they can cut their ties with you because you violated the rules and guidelines. But if you have a streaming platform like Netflix or Amazon or Vudu, and you don't have no content guidelines, at least stuff that revolves hindering our freedom of speech and truth, then the Jews, if Kyrie Irving posted a link to Hebrews to Negroes, and it was on, say, Hebrews to Negroes TV that I created from scratch, then the Jews can get mad all they want. They can get mad all they want. If they can't go to the CEO of H2N TV or whatever and say, take this movie down, they know they can't, unless they can have somebody hack the movie and shut it down. But then we have people that can bring it right back up. They can try to hack it and disable it and shut it down for a moment, but then the computer guys that we have can bring it right back up. So that's the thing. They know that they control a lot of these platforms that people know, and it's easy to have easy access to these movies because everybody's so used to going to Amazon Prime or going to Netflix or going to Showmax or going to HBO Max or Showtime or Stars or Paramount. We're used to that, but we didn't build it from scratch. And then on top of that, we don't have the marketing advertising power like they do, because they control the mass media and they control Hollywood. I mean, the Hollywood has contracts with the movie theaters in the United States of America. So the movie theaters have to advertise movies that are coming soon and movies that are out. They have to play the movies, and the movies that are coming soon, you see them on the wall when you walk into the movie theater. You see them on the wall going to see the next movie. You say, "Oh, they coming out with Avengers #7 and Fast and Furious #9," and they're already advertising to you to get ready for the next one. And that's how we get hooked to all these movies, and we keep funneling money into their pockets. But then when we have movies like Hebrews to Negroes, we can't get in on all these platforms, and then we get it on a platform like Amazon, and they don't like it. Now they're threatening to take it down. And I don't know how long it's gonna last on Amazon, but Amazon
Has
can.
Amazon contacted you about it, like saying that you run the risk or violate it or anything like that?
Or Netflix, even like Netflix, because I know they have like the Jeffrey Dahmer. Then when
Before you
that
do
came
that, wait, hey, dude,
so like,
I want
so
him to
like,
answer the question about Amazon.
so like,
Has Amazon, no, sir, has Amazon contacted you or anything like that in regards to possibly being taken down?
No, Amazon, to get your movie on Amazon, you have to go through a content review screening process, and it takes like 3 months. It took me 3 months for them to actually approve it and then publish it. And so during that time period, they look at the format, they look at the way it's made, the sound, any drop frames, any audio issues. It may not be as extensive as Netflix, like in terms of quality control, but they look at all these things and make sure you don't have no advertising in the movie, and they make sure you don't got no, certain things that they were like, oh, he needs to take this out. You need to delete this. You need to do that. You know, and then they top of it, they look at the movie to make sure that it meets their content guidelines. Obviously, if you have a movie and you're glorifying killing another race, or you're glorifying things that are heinous crimes, then they're not going to allow it to be published. They're going to reject it. But the first two movies that I did, they were approved. Now I've had other movies that I've submitted to Amazon that they rejected for various reasons that they don't have to tell you, other than that it failed to pass this certain category. They don't have to tell you the reason. They don't have to tell you the timestamp on where the issue was, so you can go back and delete it out or edit it out. They don't do that, and I wish they did. And matter of fact, I'm actually looking into that, because we should have a right to know what part of the movie did you have an issue with, uh, to even take down the movie. Because if they say, well, we're taking out a movie because of this, then easily you could edit it out. But to see, the thing is, since I already passed the review process, for them to say we're taking it down after 3 to 4 years, they would have to have a reason why. Like, it passed the review process before 3 years ago, and now you're taking it down. Nothing has changed in terms of the movie, and nothing has changed in the review process. The review process and the content guidelines is
There's
still.
somebody on mute, on mic. We got a hot mic.
yeah,
How does
that's
that? Can you
R&B.
see that mic?
R&B.
R&B.
Hold on 1 second.
So if
All
you
right.
go to Amazon's content review guideline, there's a long list of what they don't accept, and that content guidelines list has not really changed in terms of hate speech or anti-Semitism, of race, religion, sex, blah blah blah. So they will have to justify what has changed now that you have to take the movie down, when the movie hasn't changed and your content guidelines haven't changed, and he actually passed the content screening process that took 3 months to pass. That's the dilemma they're going to have. And if they take the movie down the books, then they're looking for a law, because there's so many other books that they would have to also take down if they're going to take down my books.
So, Ron,
That's good to know. At least you protected from that spot. But go ahead. Whoever was talking, you got it.
I was just asking Ron, it's a physical person that sits down and watches your films and comes up with all these different guidelines that they can accept or reject. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it is, because back in those days, like 3 or 4 years ago, I don't think they had AI that can just easily go through and detect these things.
Right. But
AI,
now they do it before, but they didn't. Right. Exactly.
yeah, because that was back in 2000, like 2018, early 2019 is when I submitted the film to Amazon, and I mean, that's a long time ago. I don't think at that time that they had some kind of algorithm that could detect anything in the movie. Because remember, you're looking at the quote that's in the movie is part of the screen. I'm not saying it. Well, I mean, I think I am saying it, but it's in the screen, and it's scrolling down, and it says the 5 point. Unless if you're a AI and you're supposed to look out for words like uh 6 million, or Adolf Hitler, I don't think that they had that technology back in those days. What happened was, I think that somebody actually had to sit down and watch it because when I used to
Right.
email them every month because I would want to know what's going on, why it's taking so long, and they said that this is what they said in the email: we have a lot of movies that we have to review, and we're going to get to your movie as the the order. So they said this hold tight. People are going to review your movie, and when they review it, then we'll give you an answer on if it's accepted or not. So people actually
Right.
do review your movie.
Right. I figured that it was kind of a question where I wanted you to say that because that means that when they watched the film at that time when they saw it, nobody saw nothing anti-Semitic. This is like a fake narrative that's being pushed now. But the people that watched it at the time saw nothing wrong with your film. No anti-Semitism, no hatred, no nothing. But now all of a sudden, because there's a narrative to be pushed, that's what everybody's saying. So that's why I asked you that. It was on purpose.
Hmm. Yeah.
Have you submitted it to like Netflix and different outlets like that?
I submitted to Voodoo, and they said no. I submitted it to different distribution companies that produce films that we see on Netflix and Voodoo. Usually, when you look at a film in the beginning, it'll tell you who's it being distributed by, like Monkey Paw or Gravitas Ventures. It'll tell you that. It'll tell you who's the distribution company that's allowing you to see this film. And so a lot of distribution companies they rejected the movie. Netflix, they have a really really strict um, quality control process you have to pass, and if you don't even meet the qualifications, then it's no point even bothering because you won't even get past the first step. So Netflix, you gotta be on like real level movies to get the stuff on Netflix. You gotta have connections, and then Netflix also, they're gonna make money off of you versus you make money off of them, because that's what Netflix does. They get exclusive rights to your movie or your series, and you can't show it nowhere else but other than Netflix. And whatever amount of money that they tell you they're gonna give you, you accept it makes Netflix. So
So Ron,
it could be in a contract for 2 years to show their movie or 1 year on their platform, and they could say, "I'm gonna give you $200,000 for that." And if you say, "Okay, sure," and cut me a check, and then no matter how much money Netflix breaks in from your movie, you you got what they gave you, and you got to keep your mouth shut. And if Netflix says, "You working on something else," we'll pay you for your next movie or your series, and we might pay you higher this time because we made X amount of dollars off of you with the first movie, and now you got a second movie that people really like. And now we're gonna help you either fund the movie through Netflix Films or Studios, or we're going to pay you more money for your next movie.
Hey, I got a question real quick for you and anybody else who would want to answer. What are your thoughts on Adidas, a brand that was founded by a Nazi, dropping Kanye West for anti-Semitism, and no one is like speaking about that? Like, what are your thoughts towards that?
Oh, I didn't know it was founded. I didn't know it was founded by a Nazi. I had no idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean that's
I
you
Googled
know,
on Slack.
yeah, that's
the Barclays Bank that Kyrie plays for the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, they profited off of slavery too. Like it's a lot of double talk and hypocrisy and all this stuff, man.
yeah, yep. Hmm.
Again, as far as popcorn style, I don't want to dominate and ask all the questions. This is a great opportunity. If I could just remind everybody, you're in the One West room on the 100 side. If you're not a member of the room, click that greenhouse up at the top. Make sure you follow the moderators on the stage. I think definitely Ron should be followed. For those that don't know who that is on the stage, the brother's name is Moses. If you refresh the screen, he's in the third row, second person. I think everybody should follow that brother. If you haven't bought his book or watched the DVD, or watched it on Amazon, you definitely should click that link up at the top. It not only has the initial DVD that sparked the controversy, but it also has the part access to part two as well. So that brother definitely needs to be supported. And if y'all have any questions, now's the time to ask the questions. I know we got Whackers in here, Jerry is in here, so we got a lot of good people in here. So if y'all got any questions y'all want to ask, feel free to go ahead and ask. Floor is open.
On the UK. How you doing, Moses? So I'm just wondering what you're working on next, because of course it's having that sort of global impact. You said like a lot of people are waking up, and I mean, like we've had a lot of conversations over here in the UK about it. And of course, here on Clubhouse, people are going crazy. The Jewish people are losing their fucking hair, which is it is what it is. But what's next? What's happening next? I mean, what's the next 2 years look like? Give me some hope because I'm an editor, so let me know.
The next movie is breaking down the people that's in Gog and Magog's army. So breaking down the descendants of Magog, Gomer, Togarmah, Meshach, Tubal, the real Persians, not the ones that are in Iran right now. The real Puttites and the real Cushites, and explaining the Battle of Armageddon and what that means and where it potentially is going to take place at, and how we can start seeing these signs happening right before our eyes. But something has to happen before that, and that is the awakening of the dry bones of Israel, because Ezekiel 37 is before 38. So the dry bones awakening and becoming a massive army, and not divided, not with our hope lost, because the Bible states that we are divided and our hope is lost. But then once the dry bones of Israel comes together and becomes flesh and ligaments and tendons and skin and muscle, and they stand up as one nation, two sticks becoming one, then they become a massive army. And so that has to happen before the Battle of Armageddon, because Har's mountain or hill, and Megiddo, or the word where we see that Megiddo, it comes from the Hebrew. It means like a place where a lot of troops or soldiers or nations are going to be all in one place, ready to attack and to pillage and to steal. So this is going to happen in a place that is a mountainous, hilly area where the Israelites are going to be dwelling at, that these other nations are going to come. And that's why it's called the Battle of Armageddon. In the Greek, it's Armageddon. So that's one of the things I'm working on. The other things working on is the secrets of Israel that are kept and told and known in sub-Saharan Africa, because I have a lot of connections in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, Lesotho, Botswana, Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Congo, Angola, Gabon, Cameroon, Nigeria. I mean, I got people in every country, even Ethiopia, and we're going to, in the movie, release the secrets of Israel, the true Israelites, and also shed some insight and enlightenment into the true land of Canaan and what that means. And it's a whole lot of stuff people don't realize. It's about to go down, and it's going to blow people's heads off, because Satan is very crafty, and he is the master of deception. And that's what has happened over the years, decades and thousands of years. He's deceived us greatly. And one of the things that we have to really look at is that I might bring out too is the descendants of the Edomites and the Horites, because they had a union, and that union was Amalek. Amalek was half Horite and half Edomite, and their ancestors are walking this earth right now. And the Bible says that that God's going to wage war with Amalek from generation to generation, like meaning like forever. So it's a lot of stuff that's going to come out, and people ain't going to like it, but it's the truth. And people just need to look at the movie as a thinking adult with a brain, and they need to just say, okay, either I believe it or I don't believe it. And everybody has a right to watch a documentary as an adult and to say, okay, here's some good points, and some things I don't believe, and sometimes some things I do believe in. But we're not kids, so we can't hide and suppress this information because we don't want you to see it. Like we don't want our kids to watch a rated R movie, so we tell them to go upstairs. We cover their eyes, or we say you're not going to see the movie. You're not old enough, and as your parent, I can tell you what to do. But the Jewish community and the ADL and the NBA and these celebrities, they don't want you to even have that choice to be able to watch a movie as an adult with a brain and to decide whether you believe that it's anti-Semitic and did you get anything positive out of the movie, like educational, and do you believe it or you don't believe it? You know, at the end of the day, we have a right to have a decision, and based on the decision, what we see in the movie, it can impact our lives greatly, or it may not impact our lives at all. But at least people have
Salakia.
to have the right to do that.
Salakia, I know you said that you interviewed the captains, and I know you got films and things coming out. And Captain Kataza up there, he did a 12 tribe breakdown and open the platform for anybody to really come debate it. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody has even came close to even
That's off
uh
subject, it's off
Salakia.
subject. It's
Okay.
off subject.
I was just gonna say, to interview you guys for the next film, for the next documentary or whatever the case may be, as far as the breakdowns in the different tribes and different things like that. So,
Well, there's a lot of things that we don't know because we haven't explored, um, Oceania, Pacific Islands, and one of the things I can say is that I have talked to and actually met people from the Caribbean that are Taino Indians, and these brothers are way darker than me, dark as African Americans, and we have to understand that a lot of the history that you have in India, in Pacific Islands, in the Caribbean, in the Americas, the history is told by the Europeans. Most of our history is told from the European lens, even in Africa. So it's up to filmmakers and others that have a passion for research and truth and interviewing people and talking to people, in the remote villages, where they got mountains and hills and it's rural areas, and to get more information on certain groups of people so that the people of the world can understand their identity. Because people in Brazil and Mexico, they're emailing me saying, how can we find out more about our identity? All we know is that we have ancestry from either Europeans, Africans, and indigenous Indians, or like Tainos. That's all they know. That's all they know. If you ask a Puerto Rican or ask a Mexican or just a Puerto Rican, they're gonna say we know that we are a mixture of European, African, and Indian, but they don't understand the identity of the African, that they have blood, they have DNA, admixture, or the Indian that they have, DNA admixture. We're like a melting pot. Some people are dark, some people are brown, some people are light. But the thing is, people need to understand their true ancestry and lineage and identity from who they descend from. Because, even in America, we have, Indian in our blood, we have European in our blood from the slave trades and whatnot. But we need to, but for the longest, we haven't really dived into who we are as a people in America as Negroes, because Black History Month only tells us that we're descendants of slaves. And we got, we have civil rights, and we Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and here we are today. We're able to vote, we're able to get a job, we're able to go to school, we're able to have a house, we're able to drink from the same fountain as a white person, and that's it. But now we're now opening the door of learning about our ancestry and lineage that goes farther back than what the white man has been telling us about who we are and where we come from.
Hey Moses, what do you think about a lot of our people don't even want to hear that though? Like it seems like I'm so glad I came into this room, but it's so many people. You can even look around Clubhouse. They could hear this message, they could hear the truth, but a lot of us don't even accept it. Why do you think that is, bro?
Because everybody ain't gonna get it. Everybody ain't gonna make it. Some people are just not called to everybody that's supposed to receive this message is gonna get the message, and they're gonna be changed from it. Those that get the truth and they deny it and reject it, then that's just the way it is. We can't expect the whole world to wake up, because the whole world's not gonna wake up.
But I think if most of our black people do wake up, that's when the real change will come. And a lot of stuff won't get accepted that's currently being accepted.
True, but you have people that come on here that say that it don't matter, endless genealogies. They will argue you down to you can argue with them for 2 hours. They don't care about this Hebrew, and they'll even go on YouTube saying Ron Dalton can't provide any proof that we're connected to the Israelites. They want to bring up DNA. They want to say this. They want to say that our DNA is not connected to Israel because these Jewish people said this and this, and they'll bring up you know so-called sources, and they'll say based on this and that Ron Dalton's movie and book is all false. So they're willing to do their own research and come up with their own conclusion and bring out their own proofs. Their proofs that we're not the Israelites, and let them do that. Let them write a book. Let them make a movie proving that we are indigenous Indians or we're Cushites or whatever they believe that we are. They can do that. But more people are going to hopefully wake up to our true Israelite identity, and they should. I hope that more people accept it, especially those in the Christian church, because they need to really get this message, because it's very important. It's probably the only thing that's going to really help us in the long run to endure to the end, wherever we are.
Can I ask
Hey, I
Lady
would.
100 a
Moses.
question? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
would like
sorry.
to
It's
add.
okay. What's up, Captain? What's up, One West? I appreciated your movie, your documentary. I watched it myself. It was very informative, especially when you got into the Bantu tribes. I believe everyone should go on and take a look at it. But my question is, I know that slavery in some states in the United States, that slavery is on some of the bills. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about slavery being on some of these state bills that they're trying to secretly pass. And do you guys believe that all of this mainstream propaganda about the biggest lie ever told, has to do with them trying to reinstitute slavery in the United States? Only asking because I know that the United Nations put out a mandate for 100 and I would believe 97 countries to reject sovereignty to those who wanted to claim so. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys think this is just another chess piece that they have on their board and plans? Because I know that the United States is very strategic and they map out plans over 80-year time spans. So what do you guys think about that? And Moses, thank you very much for waking up a lot more people with your documentary. Appreciate you. And the stage. Thank you.
I think that if you can make somebody a slave simply by controlling uh their whole livelihood. Like you're basically like their daddy. The slave master provides a roof over the slaves' heads in the shacks, and the slave master provided food for the slaves. The slave master allowed the slaves to have children, or he would have children with them. The slave master, with sharecropping, allowed the slave to make some money or eat off his land, but ultimately it was still his land, and he was still under the rulership of the man that owned the land. And he knew that without him, that he could not really survive. Because he that's the way the mentality is, that we got to depend on the other nations to to take care of ourselves and have our livelihood. And so in America, Black people are one of the poorest people in America, and if they can collapse the economy and really put Black people in a situation where we don't have nothing and we'll have no jobs, we're unemployed. We're dependent on the medical system, Medicaid. We're dependent on SSI, disability, Social Security. We're dependent on food stamps. We're dependent on everything, even low income housing, because we can't afford regular housing because we don't have the money. Then they essentially can tell you what you're going to do, and you're going to have to either accept it or you're going to have to just live in the woods somewhere. And unfortunately, we're seeing a time where Black people are becoming severely dependent on the system and dependent on these private sector companies where we're nothing like 9 to 5 slaves, and that they can tell us you need to get this and get that, or you're going to be fired, or they can tell us that unfortunately we didn't do good the last 2 quarters, we're going to have to let go the whole staff or the people that were not senior, and you can't do nothing but just accept it and take your walking papers and then try to find a job somewhere else. And that's where a lot of people are today in America that's Black. And with this slavery thing, like, I don't know if it's just for incarceration purposes, but more and more people that are without jobs, they're underemployed. The cost of living is getting higher. The cost of rent's getting higher. The ability to get mortgages is getting tougher. The housing market, it's not like it's an abundance of houses on the market. Getting good interest rates, that's out the window. Food shortages, types of things are happening right now. And Black people, being the poorest people in America, we're going to feel the brunt of all of these things that are going to happen to America. And Black people, if we start rising up and committing crime and violence and going into stores and robbing stores or looting, all that's going to do is put more attention on Blacks as being uncouth, unruly, just not obeying the law. And so, more Black people go to jail, because when society gets bad, people commit violence. When you commit violence, the cops are there to put you in jail. When they put you in jail, if they have a law that states that you're technically a slave now in this prison, now we're kind of like back to slavery again. And so I think that we have to start not depending on the government, because if we don't depend on the government, then they can't truly control us. And I think Marcus Garvey said that if we continue to allow another nation to provide for all our needs, then eventually we're going to die off as a people. We're gonna die off, because we cannot depend on another nation for our food or water or shelter, because that's the basics of human survival. So if another nation is responsible for our housing, our food, and our water, and our healthcare and our education, technically we're a slave to them. And they can at any time come up with any stipulations that says you have to do this and that in order to keep receiving this and that. And if you don't want it, then try your luck sleeping in a tent in Central Park or in some park, and then the cops are gonna come knock on your tent saying you got to move somewhere. And so so it's a tough situation. I think Black people have to start understanding we have to, in America, come together, because if we're going to survive what's coming in America, we're going to need to be able to provide the basics of human survival, which is providing a roof over our head, shelter, providing food that we can eat without having to go to the grocery store, and providing water for us to eat without having to pay city water. Having a well, having a borehole, having access to a stream or a babbling brook or a river that we can get water. A lot of Black people don't realize that in America, a lot of times we look at the property tax scam, is that you can't really own land in America because you got to keep paying property taxes. So in order to keep paying property taxes, it means you have to have money. You always have to have money. And if you stop making money in America, you will lose your land and your house. You'll lose your car. And if you don't have car insurance or registration, and the cops pull you over, you can go to jail for that. So there's a lot of things that they're controlling right now, and we don't realize if we come together, hopefully we can start to get on a different track to where we can survive in America what's coming.
Hey, Ron, I got a
I got
question
a
for you.
question really
I
quick.
got a question for you real
Do
Ron,
you
quick.
think,
Hold on,
I
yield
Joe,
to
just
the
really
sister. Go ahead.
quickly,
Wait, hold on, brother. Go
no,
ahead,
no, go
sis.
ahead.
thank you. Do you believe that it's better to just become united or and just in that just to unite, or would it be better to correct your status and reduce yourself from the paper genocide?
Well, that's a tough. You talking about become sovereign? You mean?
Yeah, like in your perspective, because I know like you're kind of traveled as far as like that you don't live in the States anymore. And I just wanted to know like what would you think, what would you say would be the best way for a person to step out of the corporation? Would it be to just unite on a silent with your people, or would it be to do a status correction to prevent further paper genocide?
Well, I don't know if everybody that's black is going to be able to successfully um become sovereign. I mean, that sounds good and all, but at the end of the day, we still need land. Without land, you can't farm. Without land, you can't even have a house or live underneath a tree or have a tent because you're going to be living on somebody else's land. And unless they allow you to live on their land, that's not your land, and you got to do what's needed to stay on their land. Then we're still back at square one. In order to have food and water, you got to have land. In order to have a shelter, a house to live in, you still got to have land. Because we know that in America, if you don't pay your property taxes, you lose the land. So now you got to leave your house too, or your tent, or the tree you sleep under. You got to get off because somebody else owns that piece of land, and they can tell you you can't sleep underneath this tree, you can't sleep in this cave, you can't sleep in this tent, you can't sleep in this shack, you can't sleep in this house, you can't sleep in this garage. You have to get out. You have to go somewhere. I don't care where you go. You have to go to the homeless shelter, go to the FEMA camp. They'll tell you where you need to go, or they'll just say, out the goodness of their heart, okay, black man and your family and kids, I'm gonna have compassion for you, and you can stay in my garage. You can stay underneath my in my forest in a tent. As long as
Hey,
you
but Moses, but the same way, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother, but I just have to say this: the same way that they can do,
I don't.
Hey, Jay,
Oh,
hold on
I'm
one
sorry.
second.
Go
I
ahead, go
think
ahead. My
Wack
bad, my
was,
bad.
yeah, I think Wack was trying to ask a question as well.
I got a
So,
question, right? Why is economical structure looked at as slavery? And why is the movement that I'm hearing you speak of is sending us back to the caveman days?
explain how the movement that the so-called movement is bringing us back to the caveman days. To explain that.
Like, you know what I mean? Because what you saying, you want to send us back to caveman days, bro. That's just not realistic.
Explain how.
It's just not.
Explain how.
Because the mentality of our youth, our elderly can't survive doing it what you say do, right? And our youth damn sure are not going to adapt to what you're talking about. So why aren't we teaching, right, to strengthen ourselves to be more in the position within the economical structure of the day instead of running from it? Because you can go buy whatever land you want to buy, and I got a whole lot of it. I don't give a fuck if it's in the United States of America. You gonna pay American tax unless you over there on one of them, Indian reservations or something. It don't give. We can go over and buy all the land we want, right, and crop it, well it, and all that. The minute we start paying the tax on that, they're gonna come take it anyway. So why not position ourselves to be stronger in business to survive in the economical structure of the day and recreate our own business and figure out how to keep our dollars circulating longer than 6 hours. I'm not going back to caveman time, bro. I'm born in 1977. I don't even want to live in 85 no more. I don't want to live in 91. Not when we in 2022 and I'm looking forward to 2035. I'm not trying to go back to that. For what? That's gonna put us out the game, not keep us in the game.
Okay, so let's say you're working at your job or you work for a company. You got your own
Why
business.
can't you be the one that provide the jobs? I
Well, hold
provide
on,
jobs.
hold on. Let me just say something.
No, I provide. I ain't work for a job in many
I
moves, bro.
I understand that, but everybody,
I'm
Every
just
time,
tired of our people
I
speaking and
understand
teaching
that,
our
but
people to be
listen,
weak and feeble as
but
a cop
listen,
out to say
listen.
you can't survive. And when we can survive, I'm an ex-convict with a GED, bro. We can survive. We can grow and be strong and compete. We can't compete as a people in the economical structure of the day. We innovators, we creators. Been like that since the beginning of time. Why are we preaching to our people to bow down, lay down, and submit and convert back to caveman time? But we can stay right here, standing right here as we are, and create and say, hey, that building, that block, that business, that corporation, that construction company, that cement company is owned by us. What's up with that, bro? That's where I'm at with it. If you ain't talking like that, then I don't know what you talking about. You want to send us back over here to a field and a fucking well and all that? Like, that ain't what's happening, bro. Nobody of our youth is trying to hear that. It's not attractive. It's just facts.
Okay,
It don't matter
let's just
what you
look at the
ask Wack a question.
let's just look at the facts. Is Walmart sustainable?
It's the number one company on the Fortune 500. Been like that for many moons.
Is Walmart gonna always be there to have food for us to eat?
We don't know what that's gonna always be because we can't foresee the future, brother. We might wake up tomorrow and we might wake up tomorrow and there might be a sonic boom and can't none of us see.
But listen.
Is it sustainable today?
We all know. You're gonna let me speak. We all know that the earth provides everything that we need. The land that Abraham was given by God.
Man, fuck Abraham, nigga. He dead. I'm standing on the day. Nigga, I do not entertain those things of the past. That damn Negro on this stage right now have been there to witness, and you reading it out of a book, and we don't know who the fuck manipulated, created, or even wrote that book. I'm talking about today. Fuck Abraham, Lincoln, and all the rest of them. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about the Abraham bro of
Captain, can we
today.
help Moses and respond? Because I mean, this turned into a debate. He ain't been on Clubhouse.
Wack,
It's real shit, like, bro. Like, everybody want to convert up to 400 years, bro. We right here today. What we talking about today and forward, bro? What's that movement about?
So Wack, well, he not talking about one second. Everybody relax. Everybody relax.
Nigga, I'm not out of line. Nigga, I don't want to teach my people to be broke,
Listen,
bro.
y'all should let them ask the
I don't want
question
to
and
teach
just
my
be
people to
skilled enough
run,
to
bro.
answer it.
I don't want my people to fucking run, bro. Stop running.
So
We've been running too long.
So now everybody relax. Wack, he not talking about Abraham Lincoln. We talking about
Man, I
from a
don't give a
biblical.
fuck about any
I
Abraham
understand.
from 17 million years ago, bro. Fuck them
Well,
niggas.
it's
They
not
did what they
17. It's
did.
only about.
What's happening with today, bro?
It's only
Captain, can I
been about.
debunk this nigga, please?
Hey, can y'all relax? Can everybody just
Bro,
relax, man?
all this like
So
my Cap.
everybody,
We gotta stop running. Cap, you ain't running from it. You created a business, bro.
I
You
know,
created a
but now,
business your own damn self, bro. You created a business. You using the resources of how to distribute, how to manufacture, right? Why we
that's correct.
teaching run from it, bro?
No, okay. So now, what we talking about is two different things. So you have
Now I'm
morality.
hearing the brother talking about we gotta convert back to
No, but
going
I'm about to
out
tell you
here
why.
and
No, I'm
all
gonna
this
tell you what he.
caveman shit, bro.
No, I'm gonna tell you why he's saying that. So we talk about two different things. On one side, you talk about the morality that governs our loyalty, and then the other side, you talk about economics, and you need both of them. So for us,
But me and you both know, Cap, me and you both know, if we talk about our economic growth of today, bro, we can't be running back to 1812.
No, but the part that I think you're missing is that the part where you saying like 1812, and when you saying the old times, like we don't have the morality that governs us. You just made a point to say when we get our dollar leaves out of the community in 6 hours.
Six
Right,
minutes.
6 hours.
Six
6
minutes,
minutes.
probably quicker
You know
than
why it
that if
leaves out? You
you're
know
selling
why it
crack.
leaves out? You know why it leaves out in 6 minutes? Because we don't have a moral compass that governs where our money should go. That's what Ron is speaking to. That's what I'm speaking to.
Bro,
So
we're the
imagine if we
United
had.
States of America, bro.
Well, okay, so how come we're the only ones that 6 minutes happens to? Everybody's in United States of America, but
Listen,
the
but
other
my
nation.
thing is this, like, look, oh, that's cool. But what, like, bro, when we gonna talk about what's happening today and what we can do to build a stronger tomorrow instead of saying, let's disassociate from the world and disconnect from the world and we gonna go live like that, man. We want to be in the
Nobody's
race
saying
too, man.
disassociate from the, but nobody's saying
Yeah, that shit
disassociate
he
from.
talking about, bro.
No, it's okay. So from somebody from the outside, that's how it sounds. When I hear Ron speak, what Ron is saying is that essentially. So I'll give you an example. These so-called Jewish people that emulated us, it's talk about doing the exact same thing, except because we're the chosen people, we will further dominate. That's why the book. That's why this documentary is such a threat, because they were able to utilize like the same records that you saying you ain't give a fuck about is the same records that this so-called Jewish man used to dominate the entire planet Earth. But it
Yeah,
belongs to
but
us.
hey, listen, bro, listen. Let's be real. That structure been a continuous build from way back then, right? That ain't just something they started doing today. We know that, like you know that.
Right,
That's
but
the
so now we
structure
at the
that was
bottom.
created way back then. So
Right, so
when
now
are
we
we
take
gonna get structured?
that. See what you just said? When are we gonna get
Shout
structured?
out to the Jewish community. They did their thing.
Man, get
I
this your
commend
ass
them,
up.
bro.
Nah, hell no. But wait,
Bro,
hold
how
up.
you gonna
Nah,
hate on
hell
somebody
no.
that built their empire?
I'm gonna tell
How
everybody
you gonna
relax,
hate on
man.
somebody that built their empire,
Listen, if
bro?
y'all not intelligent
Hey, whether
enough
we
or
would have, hey,
emotional
look,
enough to have this
hey,
conversation,
hey, look,
then
whether
don't
we would
chime
have
in.
or
Let
not,
me and
whoever
Wack
just
talk.
said that, fuck your mama 2 times, nigga. You on the 100 side, you gonna respect my motherfucking presence, nigga.
Man, fuck you,
Bitch ass
Kahim, you
nigga.
bitch. Shut your bitch ass up, Kahim.
Yeah,
Fuck
get your
you.
bitch ass off
Man,
the mic with
fuck
this
you.
disrespectful shit, nigga.
If
And I
Kadazai, can
guarantee
you
you,
just
Cap, that same
everybody?
nigga talking, he a broke nigga who ain't figured it out. You's a broke nigga.
Hey Cap, you got
Okay,
a mute all button to mute
I
everybody
don't
else. So
have
you
a
got to
mute.
mute all button.
I'm on my phone.
Fuck out of here.
Kadazai has a mute all button. I don't have it.
This real shit, bro. What I'm saying is this.
This conversation is too touchy for y'all because Wack is
No,
kind of
that's your
aggressive.
man coming off
No,
the
I'm
mic.
not talking about you.
He a
I ain't
broke,
talking.
I can't. I bet that nigga ain't never seen a million at one time. He's a broke nigga. That's why he mad. Slave, nigga.
Cap,
I ain't
is there a
nobody's slave.
queue?
I wake up and go to
Cap,
sleep and
is
move when
there a
I
queue?
want to, how I want to.
Yeah. Okay, but what
Fuck
I
you
don't want
mean,
to do.
slave?
What I
Slave to
don't want
what?
to.
I
Okay, so
work
what
for
happened?
me, nigga.
Mute all again, please. Is there a queue?
Okay, so what I don't want to do is, because Wack comes in from a different perspective, which is opposite what we have, we can't have the conversation with him. And here's what I mean by an example. What I've witnessed this past week is I've seen so-called Jewish people come into the rooms and then they disagree with us, but we dialogue with them like it's okay. So now because a brother comes in and he disagrees with our position, we won't take the time to explain it to him. I remember saying this yesterday. We was in a room yesterday. It was in a Sons of Thunder room, and every Jewish guy that came up on the stage, y'all was real kind and polite, no
Yeah,
matter
because
how
they
much they was
submissive, Cap.
disrespectful.
They
But then when a
submissive.
brother, and then when a sister came, I remember saying, let's have that same patience with a brother or sister. And then when a brother or sister came into that room and didn't agree with us, we was ready to harp on their neck. So now we've got this brother Wack coming in here. He disagrees with our position. So we can show patience to a devil. Why can't we? Okay, so them white guys that I've seen in them rooms, them white women and them white men that I've seen in the rooms all week that were way worse than what Wack just said. Y'all had patience with them. Y'all let them come on a stage. One of the cats said, one of them devils said nigga, and 10K said, let's bring him on the stage to hear why he says that. But Wack comes on here and he disagrees and you don't want to answer. I like when Wack talks like that because then I can give the proper answer, not just for him, but for everybody that thinks like him. If
Hey,
you're not
Cap.
going to be able to handle that, then this might not be the conversation you can have. So back to Wack. Wack, that 6 minutes when they leaving out, it's because they don't have a moral authority or sense of loyalty. When you said when we going to get the structure, for us, that structure is those records that we have all had in our house that governs how we loan money. Like a lot of people don't know about this information. So you got information on how you loan money to brothers, how you build with brothers, your
All
economic
day.
value, all day, right? So
All
now
day.
thank you. So once we establish that structure, now it's not 6 minutes that our money is going out. Imagine, let's use Ron as the example. Ron got this documentary out. Ron mentioned how he wants to do more film, more information. So imagine if we pour our resources to make sure not only he gets a movie written, but there's other writers, there's other creative. You just made a point to say our creativity is way better than theirs. So imagine if we take that, formulate it under the structure that we follow. Now we build it. So now not
But this
only
is
is it
the
not
thing,
six.
Cap. This is
Mhm.
the thing, and people got to realize this, right? In business, right? I've never came into nothing and said, well, this is black finance,
Mhm.
black made, and I'm just going, that's it. Nah, bro, when it comes to the table of business, even this brother's Billmore's book, man, it's going to the best distributor that's giving me, right, what I need, right? The best situation. You know what I mean? The more ownership, I'm gonna go over here, right? If I know my reach is just here, but they reach is everywhere, right?
Mhm.
I don't mind giving them they cut because, right, a 70% cut, right, of access to 300 million people is way stronger than 100% cut to 1 million people.
Right.
Right?
And so even with
Yeah,
that,
so
like
when
when
we
you
doing business, we gotta do business.
Mhm.
We can't have this mentality, bro, that yo, black, bro, no, do they may have a stronger this than us, and we have created this finance to pay for it, so we're in a better position to bargain because we didn't use their money to create this, right? Like, bro, come to the table of business. I ain't into teaching my people restrict yourself if the dude don't look like you at the table.
So, right. So now that's another excellent point. So even when you go into the biblical narrative, economically, you made a point to say, I have a business which you know about, of course. So I
Yeah.
deal economically with other nations. So he's not saying we can't deal with them. It's more so saying we get in control. Like that diaper business you got. That's a business where your diapers is way better than everybody else's diapers. So now we don't get our diapers from Huggies. We get our diapers from you.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
I
more
wouldn't
so
want to
what he's
restrict
speaking.
myself to
Mhm.
just the black community, bro. I'd be
No, I
crazy.
don't think he's saying that either. When we saying the only way you can change that 6 minutes is for black to buy black. You can buy the other places and stuff like that, but we
Okay,
got to spend
Cap.
predominantly with us.
Cap, when I went out there and sat down with NAACP, right, and
Hmm.
I went and got my minority cert, right, I was in Connecticut, right. They told me, hey, we got. I think dude told me they had like $60 or $70 million, right, for minority certified businesses, right. Spend money with them. He showed me to where a year ago they spent $1 million with minority certified businesses. You know why?
Hmm.
Because there was no minority certified businesses to bring a product for them to spend the money on. Not that they didn't want to spend the money, it was no product there. So when I walked in there with a product on a minority certified company, the door is wide open for me. What I'm saying is, bro, if we gonna teach something, let's teach, create, innovate. You know what I'm saying? Financial literacy. A lot of our people don't even understand how to do a loan, what credit is. They don't understand a whole lot of shit. You know what I mean? It's just a lot they just don't know. What an interest rate is, bro. Hey, Cap, do you know half the shit I get is on a letter of credit?
Hmm.
It's a letter of credit. It ain't even my money. It's a letter of credit that the bank says this is a letter of credit saying that this bank will back whatever it is he wants to do. And you know how I got the letter of credit, Cap? Because I took X amount of money and told them I'm going to sit it there for 3 to 5 years and won't touch it. But every time I walk into something and I need approval of something, I need you to fax that letter of credit over.
So whack, real
Right?
quick though. If I mean, I see what you're
Hey,
saying.
who's that talking?
But
So
let's
like,
educate
if
our
I
people instead of telling us, talk about that. Oh, we got to do this and go over here and isolate ourselves and this, that. Bro, let's teach our people how do you get in the game and stay in the game and move in the game today. We cannot check out the race, bro. We came too far.
Hey,
All right,
Wack.
Mike.
Hey, I
Mike
gotta
still
say this real
talking.
quick. Captain, can I jump on for 1 second?
Yeah,
Mike
who's
still
that,
talking.
Jerry?
Jerry,
Mike's
yeah.
been
Yeah,
talking.
go ahead,
Hey,
Jerry. And
hey,
then
hey.
I want to
What?
after Jerry is Jerry. I know 10K want to get in there, and I do want to get it back to Ron.
It's
Go ahead,
crazy
Jerry.
when Wack said that. I was
Let me
literally about to say something almost identical to what Wack said because
And
my
that's why I
man,
say we should have the conversation. It shouldn't be offensive that just
yeah.
have the conversation.
But
Y'all may
let me
not like the delivery, but he has a point. Go ahead,
no.
Jerry.
What Wack is basically saying is this because I was about to ask my man the way he was talking about real estate, what we don't have, what this that. it almost sounds like it's something we can't get. And Wack made a good point. Do you understand the loan process? Do you understand how the underwriting process goes? Do you understand how to even buy real estate at a discount? It's not that simple. Like, because we get real estate, it almost seems like there's an assumption that we're gonna lose it if we get it. Why does it have to be done? Like, why does it have to be looked upon that way? Like we gotta always be the underdogs or the lessors, and what Wack is basically saying is, if you keep thinking about the past, you'll never be able to focus on the future. This is 2022. What can we do today to uplift ourselves and get to the next level? We don't have to worry about what happened with I don't want to go in like Wack just did, but we don't have to worry about all that stuff from the past, bro. Let's focus on 2022. What can we do today? We can buy real estate. That don't mean we're gonna lose it. We can buy apartment buildings. That don't mean we're gonna lose it to taxes. When you educate yourself and get around different tables, everything starts to look a little different, bro. That's all I want to say, Captain. Shout out to Wack for everything you just said, my brother.
And I think that's why I think it's important. Like the message got to be conveyed in a certain way where it's understandable, so people got because you don't want to make it sound archaic, even though the basic principles we're following would be archaic. What I mean by archaic, one second, you could just mute.
Cap.
Oh, it's like
You
that's right.
gotta say our old asses is what it is, bro. You think our youth gonna turn off that motherfucking Wi-Fi? Hell no. Oh, hey, look, you can sell it to them all day long. We're gonna go out here and raise the crop.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
But
the Wi-Fi.
okay, but
is he saying the history don't matter?
Yeah. Let me jump in. Just real. We are in the game today. I know we got a lot of people, LeBron, people do crazy shit. Yeah, do what, bro. We are in the game, like we are right there.
That's fact.
We're right there, bro.
Too many billionaires. Too many black
Yeah, we
billionaires.
can't.
Hey, but
We
you know what
can't
we
turn
lacking with the
down, bro.
billionaires? Okay, but the money. Here's the part. Hold on
Yo,
one
Cap,
sec.
look at me, and I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro. I learned to respect you. I'm an ex-convict that went to prison at 16 with a GED. Cap,
Done.
listen, Cap. I got $400 million in contract. I'm taking you with me. You gonna be part of this company, and I want to help expand your company, bro. Ain't no turning back, bro. We gotta
Right
move
now,
forward,
you know what's going to
bro.
be the difference with you and I and everybody else is that you and the reason why I love Wack, me personally. The reason is this. I ain't talking about his beliefs or nothing, but he does have a loyalty to black people. So when y'all talk about the LeBrons and y'all talk about all these people with billions
I
and
ain't
billions
doing
of
all that
dollars,
shit he
the
doing.
part that they lack with all that money is the loyalty to us. I'm gonna give an example. That owner of the Clippers, Donald Sterling, when
Yeah, I
they had
lived in
that
this
uproar,
building when he did it.
right? So when they had that uproar about what he said about black people, you know what Donald
Mm-hmm.
Sterling said? He said Magic Johnson and all they want to do is play golf with me. They don't take care of their own. My people, we make sure we take care of our own. And now, why do they lack that? Because of the moral compass that we bring. So that archaic thing that people think is old and Abraham and 4,000 years ago, that's what they use as their blueprint. So you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have what we call a law, statutes, commandments, you're going to fail at it. As a
Hey,
people,
Cap,
I'm
I
not talking about. I'm
want to
not talking
leave you
about
with this.
individual. I ain't talking about individually. I'm talking about as a nation. So we talking as a nation, we have to have law,
Well,
and
this is
that's
the
where the
thing
Bible
with
comes in.
that. You know why Magic Johnson want to go play golf with him? Because shit, who we gonna play golf with us to be talking about what he need to get done. So we got to position
Shit.
ourselves for that. I'm gonna leave everybody with this, and this just my and this whatever you believe and whatever you know how you want to take it. Cool. This is my mentality to us as a people, right? And I'm talking about understanding where we came from those times to where we at today, right? The mission is to move forward. To get there means not to know how far to go. Stay the course. That's where I'm
Cap.
at.
Can't move forward with people like you at. Cap,
Hey,
what did
man.
you mean by the
Hey, man.
archaic law? What you just said before?
Hey, man.
You just said something, Cap. What did you say?
I didn't know I was muted. What I meant by the archaic law, and the reason why I use archaic is because when Wax said he don't want to go back to Abraham and stuff like that. So the archaic law I'm talking about is the law, statutes, commandments, and I'm using the so-called Jewish man as an example. He used our law, statute, commandments from the bottom, and now he runs the world. So now we're at the bottom. So now we take that same archaic structure, change our morality way of thinking. So when we get our paycheck, we ain't automatically thinking of spending with like Bloomingdale's or Versace. I'm just naming different things. We think about businesses that will help fund our cities, our communities, what build them up. I remember Harlem on 125th Street, for example. They used to be all black businesses lined up on 125th Street. It was like the black paradise, the black Mecca. And now when you go on 125th Street, it's not like that because we lost our morality. At one time we was together. So you have to do two things. Economics is not really the issue in the black community. I know that because I see drug dealers make millions of dollars a year. So if crackheads can funnel drug dealers, we don't have a problem with money. We have a problem with morality. We have a problem with brotherhood. We have a problem with sisterhood. That's when that archaic structure called the Bible comes into play. So that's what I was talking about when I said archaic R&B.
Yeah, you know what I heard, Cap, was that both of those coexist. I saw how it turned to animosity situation, but they have to both
Who's that talking? That's
coexist.
Jerry?
So no, this was Remus.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes, sir, big brother. And so what I realized is that, you know, when you have a mindset where whack is, you have to stay focused on what you're doing because you don't have time to pull your attention off of that. You have to, that's a 24/7 gig. You're not trying to, like you said, Abraham, like, hold up, man, I got things right here, right now. I'm working. It's like the brain can't grasp it. However, there has to be others that also speak on what Moses was speaking on. And that's what the reality is because it's like soldiers.
Hey,
You got someone.
hey, brother, if I could yield you real quick, the brother Ron, he's
Go
gonna be
ahead.
dipping out in a second. I definitely want to first, I want to appreciate Ron coming into the room. Ron, the history you dropped on how you started, I thought that was excellent. If y'all haven't clicked this link up at the top, this link up at the top is his Hebrews to Negroes digital business card that 10K put together that not only has the documentary that causing the controversy, I believe it has the part 2 of the documentary as well. So make sure y'all click that link. Make sure y'all give this brother a follow and don't let this be the last room that we have, not only on this subject, but let this be the spark to having other different subjects where we can deal economically and morally. They have to go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So Ron, I do want to yield the floor to you to take your time and give your closeout if you want.
Where to think Ron is on the phone, Captain. Let me take the mic just for a second. It's 10K. All right, so guys, here's what's the shocking news. What Ron just gave the community is a stark reality. What WAC just did, WAC became the litmus test. We have been on the app for 2 years trying to help our people open up a business, run your business. But we choose to sit in the drama room, blacks hate blacks, this hate that, and it's not pushing us further at all. So when Moses come and he said, hey, you got to go to the fucking bushes. You think my finances, Wax finances, Captain finances, Jerry's finances will allow us to live in the fucking bushes? It's not going to happen. But here's the problem. When we're telling people, start your fucking business, use the system that's designed to work against you and fucking manipulate it, infiltrate it. Guys, here's a news flash. I've been working with Jewish community for over 15 years. We made millions together, and it was a 50-50 partnership because ownership is important for me. I've learned a lot from the Jews. Those motherfuckers have an infrastructure for business that we don't have. We can make tons of money from them, not a problem. But here's the problem. What I have learned from the Jewish community is when they're finished making money, as Wack rightfully said, they make educated decisions as to where that money is going. So when he said we need to educate our people, he was right. And you know why I love this room and I will always endorse Wack? Wack had to fucking shock you guys. He had to shock you. Because after you leave this room, you can either keep fucking walking 2 miles an hour and live in the farm or someone else's farm, or you can get your fucking self together, go pay a professional, register a business, tap into the resources that's available. There's so many people in the app with resources. Tap into resources, position yourself correctly. Guys, I can stand on this stage. I can go on any stage. I can stand with Kyrie, Kanye, and Moses. They can't fucking do me shit. Multiple businesses, multiple names, different countries. You can't fucking stop me. And I want to give Jerry a big shout out. Jerry being on this stage right now is going to cost him a lot of fucking friends from his fake fuckers on the app. And with Jerry being here, That backlash is about to come to him. So if you guys don't appreciate what we're doing right here, we're not here to make you feel good. We're here to give you a reality check. The reality check is live in the fucking farm or learn to infiltrate the fucking system. If it was set up for one, it can be used by us, but we're not reading. We're not collaborating. We're not hiring the fucking professionals. Captain, this is a great room, bro. Back to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey Moses, are you back? I can't see the icon. I was
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
like
you heard
that
me
dude.
give a yeah, and Moses, I don't know if you heard me give a closeout for you, but I was saying thank you for coming into the room. We appreciate you giving that history. I definitely promoted both of your documentaries, which is the link up at the top. So I know you said you had to go, so I definitely will give you the floor to go ahead and close out, brother.
Yeah, so nobody cares about nothing other than the basics of human survival. We know that if we don't have shelter, if we don't have food, if we don't have water, that's the problem. And I'll give you an example. In 2003, the blackout, the East Coast of America, it hit Detroit. And within 2 days, people didn't have gas in their car. The gas stations ran out of gas. People were shooting, fighting at the gas stations in Detroit. People were run out of food. There was no electricity. People in the streets in Detroit, on Linwood, Livernois, Broad Street, Dexter, all these different areas in the West Side, not good areas. Guys were on the street with their guns and their knives, and they were saying, if the power does not come on by tomorrow, we're going to get in our and we're going to go start robbing people. And if we got to go to the suburbs, we're going to get in our vehicles. We're going to drive suburbs to take from those that have because we don't have. And everybody that was in Detroit at that time on day 2, if you had a grandma or some old grandfather or uncle that was living in a house in Detroit all by himself, you would have to take your whole family, all your cousins, nieces, and nephews, and everybody, and go to their house and sit outside on the porch with your guns because people were on the streets looking to see who they can run up in their house and steal from because people were getting desperate. That's because when you don't control your food supply, remember, in order to have food, you have to, for most black people today, in order to get food, we go to the grocery store. And that's not always guaranteed to be there. What is guaranteed to be there is the land from where the food comes from. But if we don't have any land or any farmland, because farmers in America make up less than 1%, John Boyd, the president of the Black Farmers Association, he said that we're in a crisis. And that if we don't get $5 million of assistance or aid assistance from the government, a lot of black farmers are going to lose their farms because they don't have the money to pay for fertilizer, for seed, for taxes, for equipment, for a host of things that he named off. He said, we just don't have the money and we need the aid from the government. Otherwise, we are going to lose our farms and the black farmers are going to be obsolete in America. And this guy, I think he has 300 to 1,000 acres of land. And he has livestock. He has soybeans. He has different types of things that he grows. And he said on Fox News that we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis now. We know that if 1% of American farmland is has black farmers, because black farmers is 1% of the American farmer population, and we know the majority of the land in America is now owned by black people, but yet we want to think that the grocery store is always going to be there to have food. Walmart, Publix, Kroger's, Food Line, all these places are not always going to have food for us to eat. So when black people run out of food, when black people don't have clean water coming out their tap, or just the water doesn't come out their tap, what are people going to do? I know for a fact in Africa, in many places in Africa, if the city water in the cities like Johannesburg and other places, if they're working on the water pipes because the water pipe busted or something's wrong with the water pipe, you ain't gonna have no water for a couple of days. But in Africa, they have backups for all of that, especially in the village. And if your power goes out in Africa for a couple of days, people know how to survive and adapt. If the grocery store was to shut down or there was no food at the grocery store or people didn't have no money, people still know how to survive and from a farm and raise livestock and eat the livestock or eat the eggs that is coming from the earth. The problem is in our community is that we have got away from that. When we were first set free as free slaves, the white man didn't want us to have jobs. So if we couldn't have a job, then how could we make any money? So if we didn't have any money, how could we go to the white man's grocery store? So provide for ourselves when we were freed and we had our own little communities. And how did we survive on our own? We built our own houses with our bare hands. We bartered. We took care of the kids. The women cooked. The men went out and did what they had to do, whether it's fishing, whether it's raising animals, blah blah blah. The same thing. I mean, this is what happened. This was going on for civilizations for thousands of years. The Israelites didn't have the dollar bill or the credit card, the debit card, the check, central bank digital currency, the internet. The Israelites didn't have none of this stuff. But the land provided for the Israelites, the land of Canaan. Just like the Bible says, the land, you're not going to want for nothing in this land. It's going to be the glory of all the lands. So we have to realize that in America, America is Babylon, and Babylon is falling. We don't control the money. We don't control the internet. We rely on the trucks to come to the stores to deliver the food and to drive off. We don't control the gasoline. We don't control the diesel. We don't control the planes. We don't control the ships. We don't control telecommunications. We don't control social media. We don't control Hollywood. We don't control these streaming apps. We don't control hardly anything, and we don't own America. If we owned America and the land of America that we live on, then we wouldn't have to pay no taxes. But we all know in order to eat in America and to buy food in America and to have internet and live in the private sector, that you got to have money. So when the Europeans moved the money system to central bank digital currency, and they tell you that you have to do this, this, and this, and that to be able to operate in this digital currency, and if they tell you that you've been a bad citizen, and we're going to restrict your spending, or we're going to only allow you to spend money on this and that, and oops, I'm sorry, but your account is frozen. Oops, there's a glitch in the system. You can't access your money. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a holiday. This Monday. I'm sorry, we're not open this day, and you can't access money because remember, you can't go to the ATM machine. You can't take out money because now everything's digital. You can't go to the ATM machine, take out cash because now everything's digital. And when we're all on digital currency, and we can't, if it was a glitch in the system, if they punish us or punish certain people, however they want to do it, like they're doing China, then you are subjected to all their rules, regulations, and guidelines in terms of how you can live. This is happening in China right now. People have to have a certain green code or red code to be able to get access inside of the store. They have like what's called a social credit system. There's a lot of limitations on what you can do in China. One of the things we have to understand in America is that we can say, let's get businesses, let's work for ourselves, but every business has to have an employee. Every business has to have employees, and employees have to get paid. Who are they going to get paid from? What's the main currency of the country that people are going to want to be paid from? When the government moves to central bank digital currencies, this is what people are going to have to move to. There's no coincidence why the World Economic Forum is saying in the future you will own nothing and be happy. You will own nothing and be happy. It's no coincidence that they are talking about giving everybody a monthly stipend of money, and this is what you're going to have to live off of. And if you want to make some extra money, you can. But ultimately, what's going to come to this economy is that everybody's going to be so strapped for cash. And if inflation happens because the dollar bill is devalued, or it just drops and collapses because there's something going on in the East where everybody is against the dollar and the dollar loses its value, and it does not stay as the world reserves currency, then overnight you're going to see hyperinflation. So you can be working at Little Caesars, you can be working at Chick-fil-A, you can be working at Walmart, you can be working at GM or Chrysler or Ford, you can work at the hospital. Your money is not going to go a long way when you go to the grocery store and try to buy some food for your family, or when you got to pay your property taxes, or pay your rent, or pay your car note, or pay your insurance or your registration, or anything. anything. When people run out of money in America, we know what happens. Because I see it all the time in Detroit when I used to see patients. If you run out of money, grandma is my patient. She runs out of money. She can't pay her property taxes. Grandma says, Ron, next month you're gonna have to come to my daughter's house to see me. I'm losing my house because I don't have the money to pay property taxes. I go see a patient. She's on Xanaxes. She's on oxymorphone. She's had a bad back, bad knee. She's in her 50s. She said, Ron, the next time you see me, I might not be here. Can I still get my oxys and my Xanaxes? Because I have pain. I'm in chronic pain. I have anxiety. I see the psychiatrist and the pain specialist, the pain clinic. I said, yeah, you can still get your medications. The next month, she calls me. I said, where are you at? She says, I'm outside on this street on the corner. I'm in a blue van. So I got to see this patient now in the van. Where you living at? This is my home. We living in a van. Why don't you go to the homeless shelter? I can't. I got kids. I don't want them to take away my kids. There are people right now that are barely paying the rent, that are barely putting food on the table, that are barely able to pay their car note, their car insurance, registration, medical bills, pay for medication, all types of stuff because they don't have enough cash. And at the end of the day, if we can't provide a roof over our head, we cannot put food in our belly and have water, because in America, most people are drinking water because of water bill or because they went to the store and got some bottled water. And you got to have money for that. And you got to have gasoline and a car to get to the grocery store, or you're going to have Uber and pay the Uber guy to take you to the store, and they have the Uber guy take you back home. So we have to understand that in America, Black people have to start thinking about surviving. We have to think about surviving without money, because when money is not available, or when money becomes very tight, or when the dollar collapses, what are Black people in America going to do? You know what they're going to do? You know what they're going to do? And I'm it's sad to say this, but all this hope, not of the hopeful think about every Black person get your own business, be your own boss. We all work with each other. We'll have our own economy within an economy. All of Black America. That's not going to happen. Black people, when this happens, they're going to cry out to the government to help them. They're going to say, where is the nearest FEMA camp? We got these kids. We got kids in diapers. My kids are crying. I need my medication. I don't have that. You are on dialysis, and you don't know where to go to get your dialysis, and you're running out of your insulin. We're running out of food. It's people outside shooting guns. I'm scared. Well, what are we gonna do? We can't stay here. How are you gonna find out people if they come to the house? We don't have anything. They can come in here and steal. They can rape us. The women and children and even some men are gonna probably say, you know what, you're right. Let's just get all our stuff. Let's leave. Let's go to the FEMA camp. At least there, we got protection. We got a warm cot. We got meals. We got a toilet. We got medical aid, and we're not in this madness like the Hunger Games or like what's that the Purge. We're not living in that situation every night, scared that somebody's gonna run up on our house and rob us. And this and when you go, and I'm about to close here. When you go to places like Haiti and other places where it's not safe, it's just not safe because people don't have no money. People are hungry. People are living in deplorable conditions. People are fed up. They're angry. When people get angry, they're fed up and they're tired, they start committing violence. And that's just the nature of people. And our people in America, where everybody has guns, it's not going to be a good situation when people are presented with these kind of scenarios that is coming to America. Because the elite, they don't care about the lower people. They don't care about the poorest people in America, which is Black people.
Well,
so we have to have a plan, and we have to really figure it out, because at the end of the day, like I keep saying, we don't control the money, we don't control the internet, we don't control how we have to stay on the land that we're living in right now. You all know, most people all know that you have to pay your property taxes to stay in your house. You have to pay your water bill. If you do not pay your water bill, then it gets put on your property taxes as a lien, and eventually you can lose your house because of unpaid property tax and water bill. And when you don't have a house, you can't farm, you don't have a roof over your head, you're essentially a nomad in your own country. And so we need to figure out, what are we going to do when these things start happening, because it is going to happen. and a lot of black people are going to suffer. And what I suggest is that the rich people and the influencers like the Kanyes, the Kyries, the whoever that's awoke, they start realizing, what are we going to do in Black America when Babylon starts to fall? Or what's the plan for us that got to stay here, and what's the plan for those that want to say go somewhere else to survive? Because at the end of the day, we all want to survive. That's it. At the end of the day, we all want to survive. We don't care if we have the internet if we eating. Like if I'm eating, I don't care about the internet. If I got a roof over my head, I don't care about if I got a nice car and I got gasoline in the tank and I can go to the movie theater and I can go to Outback or Fridays or BW3s. I don't care about that. As long as I got a roof over my head, I'm eating, I got water, and my family's with me, and I'm on a land that I can't be removed from and be homeless. That's the main thing that you should be worried about. And, that's really what we need to start talking about right now is so as the black people surviving what's coming to this whole world.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ron. And again, we appreciate you coming and giving your time and giving the history. We definitely don't have to close the room, but Ron, I definitely appreciate you coming in. Speaking on that part about the surviving part, I think that I know for ISUBK, we definitely prepare. Like we got land. I know other brothers that got land in different organizations. We got land, we got training, we got doctors, we got nurses. If you want to go militarily, we got a lot of guns. Like so, like you definitely have to prepare. So you don't just sit on your loins and just sit like a slugger. Like Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within. So if we can have, if anybody else can have their kingdom, we can have our kingdom. So Babylon or not, and Babylon falling, what we should be preparing for is if they do fall, not so much a woe is me type of concept, like now I ain't got no water, but how do we get water? How do we feed ourselves? How do we extend those resources so that if Babylon falls, that we can actually funnel ourselves? So in ISBK, that's exactly what we prepare for. So I just wanted to add that. So again, Ron, I definitely appreciate you coming in here. We're gonna open the floor back up to any type of conversation or dialogue that y'all want to have on this subject. So it's popcorn style. Just make sure y'all yield because it is being recorded. We don't want a whole bunch of confusion. Kadazar, if you still there, if it does get confusing, just use the mute all option for me. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I got
Can
you.
Bam go, please?
For sure.
Thank you, Captain. Can I say something?
Can Bam go? This is
This is
Bam.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go
all right,
ahead,
He said
man.
it's
cool.
popcorn, y'all. If you hear somebody speaking, just shut up and let them talk and jump in when
All
you
right,
can.
cool. This is Remus. I was saying earlier, based on what you just
Hey,
said.
yo, fam, respect. Let the elder go, man. Bam, take the mic.
Come on, brother. I was speaking earlier when brother cut me off. Come on, 10K.
All right, elder man, that's one of the problems we got. Just get a man a chance. You'll come after him. 2
I'm gonna
minutes.
give him a chance.
Bam, take
No
the
problem.
mic. Yo, bro, it's 10K.
I'm gonna give.
Bam, take the mic.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Hey, thank you, kings and queens. I will be under 2 minutes. I'm here in Los Angeles, California, the number one homeless city in the United States of America, bar none. Over 80% of the people living on Skid Row here in Los Angeles look like me, black, melanated, whatever term you're comfortable with. We're in the process of eradicating Skid Row. It has never been done before. It's been there 100 years. We have a plan. We're there every single week. And I'm going to pop a link in the chat. WAC, I want you to participate with what we're doing in Los Angeles on Skid Row. It's called helpbam.helpthem.com. Say it one more time, and then I'm going to put it in the chat. Helpbam.helpthem.com. It's going down in LA. We're working with both Caruso and Bass. Bass is my neighbor, or she was my neighbor. So we're in it. I've got my 2 minutes done. We have solutions, and I appreciate all the energy.
What does that mean, though, bro? Eradicating Skid Row.
All right, glad you asked. Let me be quick, Wack. First of all, you have to identify the causes. It's 4 major issues. Number 1 is mental health. It's out of control. We can resolve that with some issues, solutions, and not medical, but some healthy solutions. Number 2 is cash flow. Number 3 is affordable housing. Number 4 is the biggest one, but most people don't think about it. It's called nonprofit individualism. I grew up on 111th and Avalon. I went to Locke High School. And so bottom line, I see all the churches in our hoods. Most of those churches are not working together. They're working individually. We get them to work together and we can actually create some solutions. Thank you for your question. Any other question for me?
You didn't answer my question because what about fucking drug addiction? You know, inflation, just finances. Like we can say we're gonna eradicate it, but where we gonna put them? Where they going?
All right. So again,
You
number
know what I'm
one is
saying?
mental. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where we gonna put them? Where they going? You know, we all
Oh,
know Arnold Schwarzenegger he did away with a lot of long-term mental facilities when he was in office. I know this because my mother is a mental health patient. So, but that's just one thing because unlike back in the day, today the homeless guy is not just those type of people. It's regular fucking people who just couldn't afford they living. Like it's regular people out there in tents, like for real, like me and you. But the cost of living went up, so they had to make a decision on I'm gonna pay for this car to get to work every day, or I'm gonna pay for this home over here and not be able to get to work and get evicted anyway. So it's a different homeless guy out there today.
yeah. Well, Wax, I'm on Skid Row every single week. I was gonna be there today. You guys pray for my queen mother. She had to get rushed to emergency for a minor stroke, but she's fine. Thank God I'm in the hospital right now. That's number one. Number two, remember, Wax, I said the 4 items. Number one is mental health. Under that, Wax, is including giving up and having to deal with whatever you got to deal with. That's number one. Number two is a cash flow, and we can talk about that in a broader sense. Number three is affordable housing. You're watching the mayoral debate for Los Angeles. Karen Bass right now is at 50%. Rick Caruso is at 49.5. So bottom
What you
line,
doing? The little homes? You trying to go to the little houses or tiny homes? Is that what
yeah,
you
but
trying to do?
under the housing is Rick Caruso or Karen Bass, whichever one is the mayor. I think Rick is going to win. We're going to let the experts who deal with Rick Caruso, as you know, is a luxury builder, but he knows how to build because he's a 5-time billionaire. All right, as you know, there's over 44,000 people living on the street, and yes, you're
Mm-hmm.
right, brother. It's
Yeah.
people that look like me and you that got to
That's
make
out there. It's
decisions on what.
different. Yeah, it's different now.
Yeah, it's totally different. So we're on top of it in a very different way. And I would love WAC. I was the chief technology officer for Freeway Ricky Ross. Why am I fucking with Rick? Because Rick understands the damage that crack did to our communities nationwide. He's got to do something to reverse it. That's why I fuck with Rick. I'm the chief technology officer for Lonzo Williams. Why I fuck with Lonzo? Because Lonzo understands that the niggas with attitude took us to a direction, and now we got to make some change. So
What you mentioning
WAC,
names, Rick is in the marijuana industry. I don't know what Lonzo doing, so I mean, I know Rick personally. Been in my office
yeah,
several
yeah.
times. So you say you the chief
Call Rick
technology
and ask him
officer.
about BAM.
I know,
Call
but I'm
Rick and ask
saying
him about
you
BAM.
helping him build out the grow locations, because that shit right there might be something that's contributed to the problem.
Well, it depends on who you talk to regarding marijuana. I don't want to sidebar on things that's not my mastery. So let me answer your question regarding Rick. I'm a technologist. You probably noticed BAM.eco. .eco is the only internet extension in the world owned and controlled by Black people. So where I want to go with you, Wack, I'm here. I'm on the ground. We're doing stuff. So please, brother, reach out to me. Somebody I know. I'll call Freeway tomorrow and he'll connect us. So I'll have Freeway call you tomorrow and then let's talk about what we're doing. But it's helpbam.com. I appreciate all that you bring to the universe. I'm done speaking. Bam.
No problem.
I didn't get shit.
Beautiful. So, like I was saying a little earlier, and on that note, Bam, I'm in LA, so definitely I'm gonna hit you up. Hit me up. Trust and believe that, yeah, everything I know, my man is doing with everything. People I know, LA, believe and know that all the dots gonna get connected. Because here's what's gonna drive what Ron was saying, and where it all comes together. The Olympics is gonna be in LA in 2028. That's not the Olympics for America. That's the Olympics for the world. And I promise you, whether it be Karen Bass or Rick Caruso or whoever's going to be around mayor at that time, They're not gonna let the whole world come see that Skid Row like that. They're gonna address it. And if it's not gonna be FEMA, and if it's not gonna be little tiny houses, and it's not gonna be something, everything Ron just said is gonna be very real for certain people. You're gonna see slavery.
You know what they're gonna do, brother? They're gonna do
What
like
they
they do in
gonna
San
do?
Diego. They pick them up from downtown when they're doing a big event, and they take them over there to this spot on the other side of El Cajon, and they keep them out the way for a certain amount of time. And then when they find their way back, soon as the Olympics is over, it's back to normal.
Well, okay, but I just think that everything is getting escalated so tough.
That's
to
a
where
fact.
Now here's the thing. Okay, you can say it's gonna go back to normal for them, but I'm here to say that they won't ever get back to normal again after we get to that point, because things are escalating. It ain't business as usual on the planet nowhere. So what I'm saying is, by the time we get to 2028, you're looking at about 6 years, 5.5 years. So what I'm seeing with my little crystal ball is that if you don't have people like Bam and my boy, we call him, he looked like, if you go to Venice Beach, you see him, he looked like Famous Amos over there in white. Usually got a big old beard. My boy Ted Hayes. He already worked on that homeless tip. He was in the Olympics, and Tom Bradley. There's a whole bunch of pieces that are going to come together, because if it's not these kind of conversations, then the government, whether it be Governor Newsom, whether it be Karen Bass or whoever, they're going to have a whole different game plan. I don't know if Donald Trump be president. I don't know what's going to be going down, but it's going to be those that either have a solution that's humane, or it's going to be like, you know what? The community said, we don't give a damn what the hell happened to you. Just get y'all up out of here because you're disease-ridden, you got problems, and we don't want to deal with it. So y'all just go take them someplace. Just get them away from us.
Wait, until the Olympics is over.
Until it's over. But I'm saying, at that point, are they going to come back? Are they going to be working on a slave plantation somewhere?
No,
I don't know.
They make their way back all the time.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm just saying, things are getting real serious.
Here go the problem,
They
right?
always
Here goes
come
the
back.
problem. Here goes the problem, right? People coming with these programs, right? And everybody like talking like they just like super sincere because we want to help the homeless and help this, that, and other. But you know what the bottom line come down to? After they get through having all that conversation, when they close that door, you know what the conversation is? All right, where we make our gap at? And once they get that,
say it again.
They ain't in the game no more. They out. And then that's when shit slips and goes back to where it is.
Well,
this is shit we don't want to talk about.
Here's what I think. I don't think it's forever going to be cats that don't have a program and not connected to somebody, and they don't have. I just think either you're going to be here or you ain't. It's not going to be no gray area. You're going to be up
You
there.
heard what I said, where we get our gap at. Even the individual that's putting us up on the program, right? It's where we get our gap at. And
There
once
it
they
is.
do what they supposed to do, to show they did what they supposed to do, and they got what they was looking for, I'm trying to figure out how long they gonna stay around.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the thing. Just like with you ain't going backwards. You'll die first, right? You ain't never going back to where
I
you.
ain't doing that.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying. That's my point in a nutshell. You ain't going backwards. Either you gonna win, or you ain't gonna be here. It's that simple. So if you don't figure it out, that's what I'm trying to say. It ain't gonna be 20 years from now we still dealing with homelessness, bro. It's the programs. Either you figured it out and you still around and you producing some seed that produce some more seed, or you ain't gonna be here. It ain't gonna be no forever dealing with drama. Go to nice neighborhoods. They don't go backwards. They like, oh hell no, we're not gonna let.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about a community, a population,
right?
Where that's overpopulated. Because even right now, the people that have jobs and can qualify for homes and stuff, a lot of them are on waiting lists because shit, I don't know if they're having too many babies or too many people coming out here. Man, it's a waiting list for that. So now we're talking about getting to these people and getting some government funding. And
No, we're not. We're talking about a bigger vision. We're talking about a vision of some stuff that ain't even in place yet. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see some stuff because business as usual won't work. You're going to talk about a certain kind of love or energy. There's areas, there's people that aren't even being utilized because they're not fitting into the system. So it's going to have to be an expansion of understanding. It's going to have
what
to
is
be
the word you saying that sounds so good? What does it equate to? You talking loud, saying nothing.
No. I mean, it's not going to be solved right here tonight on
Love,
Clubhouse.
expansion and all, but what is it? Tell me, yo, we got this area, we got 150 acres, and this area already locked down. We got this construction company that's willing to do this. We got this gonna happen. The bill gonna start here. It's gonna provide for this many families, such and such. All that. what you talking all these words and ain't adding up to nothing. It sound good, bro, but
it gotta
ain't
sound
adding
good.
up to nothing.
Everything starts with words. You gotta paint the picture before you can. You gotta have a blueprint. You gotta have some kind of blueprint. It's not about politics. This is about even you, the realness
Faith
you bring.
without works. I'll leave it. I'll
I
rest
know
my
we
point.
can't do the works right here tonight on Clubhouse, so that's why I know it. Bam,
Well,
you.
but see, you could talk about it if you had it in place. You don't have it in place. You
No.
yourself
It is.
to
I'm
make
talking
yourself
about it because
sound
it
like
is
you're
in
doing
place.
something, and you
No,
really ain't doing nothing. But you
A
standing in
blueprint
one
is
place.
written out
I'm
too.
talking about it
Blueprint
because
is
it is in
written
place.
out. It's not just
Then
words.
what's the blueprint? What area you
I'm
going
talking.
at with this?
I was just mapping it out to you. What I'm saying. What he said with the tiny homes, it comes down to those like yourself, Kanye, whoever got money, got to put it in with those.
No, because I ain't talked to you about this. What have you already set up,
Hold
put
on.
lined up?
I'm giving you the vision right now.
Don't depend on me because I ain't agreed to shit.
Okay, I won't depend on you, but Kanye and everybody else, you can't make it. No problem. Freeway Rick.
That ain't what I said. I'm saying you coming on here talking as if
I
these
have
things are
to.
in
You're
motion.
right.
I haven't
Because
had this conversation with you. Kanye hasn't had this conversation
You
with
damn right, but Bam just got through talking to you. What I'm trying, we got to have conversation to start somewhere.
He's another guy. I didn't hear nothing.
Nope, that's okay. You can't. It's not about
What
hearing.
area
Other
we
people
going
heard it.
to is the land purchase.
Bro, but 150 acres ain't gonna be enough. We need states.
How many acres do you have?
Bro, we gonna need states. What I'm saying, it starts. You can't start.
Okay, what state are we going to?
We in
How are we gonna
California. We talking
transport
about
it up
LA.
there?
We talking about LA right now.
Where at? Because we're at in LA. We're at.
Bam wants to come together. I'm gonna bring him together.
We're going to Antelope Valley. We're going to San
There's all
Bernardino.
kinds of areas. All those areas. You know what I'm saying? Moreno Valley, Hemet, everything in between.
Do we have land purchase there?
There's a whole lot of areas. All in between.
Do we already have the land purchase there? Is it zoned out?
We don't have the
We got to
defined.
start now, brother. That's the process.
That's what I'm telling you. In order to get to the we gotta sit down and talk about it.
Oh, so this is something you want to do, nothing that you'll be
Hell
saying.
yeah, something I want to do.
Okay,
It's
I
not
just
something
wanted to
you want to do.
clarify that for my people, because you are on the hunter side, and I don't allow no propaganda
Ain't it
over
something
here,
you
bro.
want to do? Ain't it something you want to do too?
Yeah, but
I don't want to do nothing you talking about because I don't know what you're talking about.
No problem. You're on the record. You don't want.
But what I'm saying is, you just came on here and
don't
acted
sell
as if
dreams, bro.
this had motion. There is
Everybody
no
ain't gonna
motion with
love
what you talking about.
He say stop selling dreams, bro.
Selling dreams, bro. You
know
can't.
what I'm saying? It's all about the
Nah, he
words.
ain't got shit.
In
This
the
why
beginning,
whack
it's all
is whack.
about the words.
Yeah,
I'm not
done talking.
ever gonna speak on the negative how it ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna definitely speak on it's gonna
Yeah,
make it
but you
happen.
talking like it wasn't motion.
You damn right. I'm
Then
talking
you're
like it's
not living
already
in
done. You
reality,
right.
bro.
All right,
But he
bro.
telling you to start selling
You're
dreams
right. I'm
to the
talking like
people.
it's
Fuck it, I'm
already
gonna go to the
done.
moon in
I'm glad you
2078.
recognize.
Hey, brother,
Glad
you
you
see how they
recognize. I'm
said
talking
faith
like it's
without
already
works?
done. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like it's
Faith
already
without
done.
works. I rest
Like
my
it's
point.
already done. That's how you got to where you are. You spoke it into existence. You saw it first in your mind long before it
I
manifested.
acted on it.
There you go. There you go. You
Well,
moved out
where's
of it.
your acting at?
We're not talking about a small little contract. We're talking about a big thing that's gonna save California. We're gonna have save
And if you
America.
talking about that in the next 6 years, it needs to
Bro, you know what it's gonna take? To find the individuals that believe in it and see it and come together and you watch. Then you watch. When the momentum kick in, we'll
Hey,
talk
so
to you in another
Remus,
year from now.
You went from
Remus,
this
this
is
what
what
he's
you're
saying.
doing to this what you want to do.
Right,
Bro,
and I think that's the problem. So
Let's
like
check in
That's the
Remus,
again
you
problem
can
when
right
we get
there.
one
closer to
second, Remus,
2028.
Remus, relax, dude.
I'm
What he's
relaxed,
saying,
y'all good. We fighting for our
yeah,
people. That's all.
yeah. When I say relax, that means mute up. That's what that means.
Okay. Oh, say
I
that. I
appreciate it.
understand
No,
now. I got your language.
okay, no sweat. Mute up. What Wagger's saying, like you coming more so with an idea. He thought it was something you was already doing. And so when he's
Hey,
saying faith without works, once I'm not
say this, Cap.
finished. I'm not finished.
Oh, I thought you wanted me.
I didn't want if I want you to speak, I'd say, hey, on mute, speak.
I'll wait for you to tell me.
That's why he said faith without works is dead. We all have ideas of what we want to do. I go through this all the time when I be out on the street teaching. Like I actively go out to do shit. So when I talk about it, people are more inclined to listen because I have a reputation of actively going out to do it. So if you're not actively going out to do it, but you're talking, that's what he's speaking to. You got to put some work to it. So then when you come to it with an idea, now you've done research. Or maybe you're just giving an idea to someone and say, hey, maybe I think we should do it. But I think we all thought this was something that you was doing only to find out it was just an idea. If
That's not true. I
anybody has
gotta
an
jump
idea,
in,
there's nothing
Cap. I
wrong with
gotta jump
bringing.
in, Cap. That's not cool.
No, you
That's not cool.
don't. You don't have to. You don't have to jump in. You can jump
Well,
out. You don't have. So we can all have ideas, And ideas is good, but you just got to set forth if it's an idea or if it's something that you're doing, so we can know what you're actually talking about. Are you?
Captain, this is RJ. Could I shout you guys out?
Kind that's popcorn style. So
All right. Hey, to the point, Whack, appreciate you, man. And to Captain, and I'm in this room now, and I'm from Los Angeles, born and raised South Central. Great questions, man. And I guess as long as we keep it up, answer the solution and be specific without emotion, we can get there. We gonna get there. So to the answer, and I know Wack had mentioned tiny houses. I'm born and raised in South Central, retired military, um, just been in the game and trying to make it make sense. So to answer the question of where they gonna build, we started out in South Central, Slauson, Vermont. Ended up my mother with several properties all over South Central LA. Where we gonna build? We're building out in Los Angeles County. You guys heard about Palmdale, Lancaster. And it's just an example. A lot of people from all over the country, but this is where we talk about because we grew up in South Central. We straight out of Compton. We got family in Watts. Where we gonna build right now, starting where we are building, 18 acres. It's called Llano, California, LA County unincorporated. Mother purchased the land 1992, 20 bands. Where we can build Sun Village. Those that don't know, Sun Village is a historically Black place, Jesse Owens. If you Google Sun Village, there was a place where all the Blacks lived. You couldn't live in Lancaster. You couldn't live in Palmdale. Bottom
That's
line.
off to 138, right?
Yes, sir.
I know where you at.
Where,
okay.
Right, Los Angeles County.
Yeah, they're going towards Lake LA and all that over there.
Yes,
LA right there, Palmdale, all that shit right there,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, it's all yeah.
So I just want to shout it out. San Bernardino County, my mother bought some land over there. So where we gonna build, and it's only an hour from LA. People like being in the hood, in the city, and everywhere you want to go, and that's all good. So where we are building is we're building in Llano, Rosie's Ranch, 18 acres, paid for, free and clear. We own our own water. We're gonna put solar panel, and we're gonna build some affordable housing. Yes, you can call it tiny houses, but right now, when you got to choose between being homeless, you got to choose between renting, or you got a choice between owning. We building out Sun Village, which was a historically black community where only Blacks could live back in the day, because you were working over in Norfolk Grumman, Lancaster, but you had to live on the east side, Compton, Watts, Sun Village. I just want to shout you guys out. Just as long as we keep making it make sense, answer the question. Faith without works is dead. Let's do the work. So
That's what's up. That's a plan.
The only thing I see with these little houses, right? I see them going up, but I foresee a problem, some New Jack City type shit going on, and
no,
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how they gonna police that.
I see that.
I see. You know what I'm saying?
No, here we go, Wack. We police ourselves, bro. I got a rifle. I got dogs.
Yeah, but you know what that's gonna lead to. We're gonna have to.
No, come on, bro.
That's gonna have you in trouble.
No, I'm ex law enforcement. I'm retired military, bro. I played that game. I want to keep it real.
Yeah,
man.
but you don't want to put yourself in a situation, bro, where you find yourself, you got a family and shit to take care of as well, right? You know, you don't the risk in the game, bro, gotta make sense. So, I think overall, because you just one body, it really need to be a conversation that has nothing to do building that the area you got that. Now it really needs to be at least about 5 to 10 different approaches on how they're going to secure these type of situations. Let's be real. The people that's gonna go in these little homes, they gonna be the people that's homeless. A lot of these people, bro, are mental health patients as well as drug addicts, bro. We know that lead to shit happening. You know what I'm saying? So
what we got 100. We got medical. We got black people who are doctors. We got people.
No. I'm not questioning that. I'm talking about like it has to be, and I don't know what, because it's gonna be a different type of people in close and very close quarters, keeping the violence, keeping the fucking drug shit, keeping the rape shit, all of that from going on, keeping people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know
100.
what that's gonna look like, but
Let me answer your question, because faith without works is dead. Every community We all take care of them. I'm not saying everybody stays together because we got to take care of each other. So you got a homeless community, and you said it before, and I don't want to just say anybody can be homeless. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Anybody, for real.
Yeah, anybody, and it's just for a minute.
Yeah.
So what it is, anybody can have mental health. My brother has seizures. The dude owns 3 properties in Palmdale. He knows how to manage money. So what we do is if we gonna take care of our brother, and like you said, you got the right questions. I got some solutions and I got some actionable steps. Tiny home is just a step. We're in North Carolina. We're in Atlanta. Mother came from Mississippi. We're in Africa. It starts off getting people ownership, and then taking the business, like you said before. Everything was good what you put out. Everybody just got to listen. And then when you ask about tiny homes, the name of tiny home is accessory dwelling unit. It's affordable housing. It's a temporary step to own something. That 40 acres in the mule that they talked about. It starts with one step at a time. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to let my mic. North Carolina, 2001. I bought a tiny house. They didn't even call it tiny house. And they used to call them, for those that have been around, it was called a shotgun house. Shotgun house. For those that don't know about shotgun houses, 1 bedroom, 1 living room, front door, back door.
Shotgun house.
There you go, Matt. So that's a tiny house. And what that is, let me explain it. I bought it. And this is real. This is just real, as in when you ask the question, what we gonna do? And we can take the same concept in LA, Chicago, North Carolina. $200 down, $315 a month, 2001. Real story. It can happen in Los Angeles. It's all about who owns the land, who's willing to work to make it make sense. Those houses now, fast forward, down the street from HBCU, which is a Black university. Those houses, gentrification hit just like they hit in Watts. If you guys in Los Angeles, you heard about Straight Outta Compton, you know about Watts. Go down Century Boulevard. You had those homes. And I want to keep this straight up because I'm not putting out no bullshit. Whack, you know what I'm saying is true. You got gentrification in Watts now. Watts is no longer Watts.
Everywhere. I tell people that Brooklyn, Watts, fucking everywhere, bro. Gentrification. It ain't Chicago. Come on, bro. This old block. This ain't.
So just
they
real
tore
quick,
the Greens down. What 20 years ago?
I'm gonna land my plane. I just wanted to say that so everybody that think about what they know about Compton, Watts, and all that, it ain't what it used to be. But we going back to the solution is owning your own, paying the cost to be the boss, taking your money and keeping it and circulating. Yeah, we can get anybody's money we want, as long as you make sure your money is coming back in to be able to help somebody else learn how to be a businessman. And when it comes back to where we were talking about the history of where we are, and I'm with you, man. I was not going in no bushes. But I'm gonna tell y'all what, I know how to take my 18 acres, my 8 acres and my brother's 10 acres. I know how to put some seed in the ground. I know how to feed myself. I had to pay $23,000 for the white man to put my well in, but that's okay. Cause like I said, our game is to get what we need and have our own. So I'm pumping my own water. And I just want to be able to make it make sense. Faith without works is dead. This is rooms like this is how we gonna learn. Whack, I appreciate you. I'm done speaking.
That was good shit, brother.
Yeah, stay the course, brother. Stay the course.
Anybody else got something they want to bring? I don't know if there's another room, Whack, going forward. You know, we could slide the traffic over there. I don't usually keep these rooms open too long. So if there's another room, we can slide it over there. If somebody else got something they want to bring out, of course, y'all can bring it up on subject, off subject. Y'all know we have Ron Dalton in the room. If y'all want to talk about that, or however y'all want to lay it out.
Good room, Cap.
That's right, man. I appreciate all y'all coming up in here. If y'all have not subscribed to One West on the 100 side, click that greenhouse up at the top. Make sure you follow the room. Make sure you follow the moderators on the stage. I believe the 100 side has like 16 different rooms. Our room is just a part of that. So if you don't resonate with this one, there's other ones that's on there that you can follow as well. If I don't hear nothing from nobody, I'll assume nobody has anything else they want to talk about.
Hey, we got somewhere to roll the traffic. Anybody in there?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah, is there another room we could roll this traffic
Somebody
right on over
open?
there?
I think